All right, let's do it. Let's blast off. Okay. Gazans have no right to return. Hamas postpones hostage release due to Israel violations. Overzealots came out with a banger. How rich countries keep poor countries in poverty and why. Nice. This channel is increasingly becoming one of my favorite channels. We'll definitely watch this video as well. Trump says Gazans have no right to return. Hamas postpones hostage release due to Israel violations. Super Bowl drama. Conservatives mad at anti-pedo sentiment. What else was I gonna talk about today? I guess that's it. It's good enough for today. For the blast off, there was so much pregame propaganda it felt like more than usual. 2 different patriotic songs, a Navy plug. I mean, not necessarily. That's just the Super Bowl, you know? It's an American institution, and it often gets talk about Montoya. I did. I talked about Montoya on the podcast. I think it's pretty funny that they did a flyover over a dome, over the Superdome, like the roof is closed. What are you flying over? Back. Trump making bribery legal again? I mean, it already is. It already is. So I'm glad that they're deregulating. Also, they're deregulating bribery, which they made legal already. Okay, here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We're blasting off. They used to charge, not anymore after people got angry. They should still charge the military. Why does the military get to do free ads? I think it's fine. NRP mentioned how CFPP brings more money than it costs, Lamau. Did you see the Canadian ads of the Super Bowl? No. Bro saw X glazing on the timeline. Bro saw X's glazing Drake on the timeline. It was so funny. Look at this take.
It's a miss because a bunch of 60-year-old white people are sitting in their chair. Brother, that's the target audience. They're not selling that to like some a high schooler, like fucking like super connected. Bro, it's the target audience. It's football. It's football. Oh my God.
Why was he so mad? Like, I get it. He did a whole collab with Drake, like they're besties and stuff. They're sponsored by the same crypto gambling casino. But like, I just don't understand why you would go this hard. Like many Drake fans that wanted to say this performance sucked at least went through different avenues of being like, oh, we should have gotten Lil Wayne, who literally, if you've ever seen his like last couple of live performances, you would know why Lil Wayne wasn't the person who was actually, despite being from Louisiana, Lil Wayne wasn't the right person for the job. Okay. He's just not capable of doing live performances in general. I can show you that in a second. State contract includes a fuck Hassan clause and a glazed Drake clause. Yeah, I didn't even know that there was a glazed Drake clause in there, but I'm beginning to find out that there certainly is one, it seems. But you don't even look at us when you talk anymore? What? I don't even know what you mean by that. Wheezy is historically known for being not very good live. Drake is red pill adjacent. I don't even think he's red pill adjacent. I don't actually think, like, he'll say he is. Like, I think he's just, his biggest crime is being weird to women and girls specifically, and also simultaneously being incredibly insecure and corny. Like, that is what it is. Like, I think the kick streamers don't actually glaze Drake for red pill adjacent stuff. I think they glaze him because they can get a collab out of it, or they're hired by the same company pretty much. I would call that red pill adjacent. Okay. I would have said you were right like 10 years ago, but the way people are coming out to defend him are the same type of way people defend Kanye. I think that chatter was correct. I don't know. I mean, I think I wouldn't put Drake and Kanye in the same category. I feel like Kanye is definitely Kanye's done a lot more. Like, Drake is red pilled in the way that like most male celebrities are red pilled, where they just like actively will say misogynistic shit. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't know. I don't think that he's like above and beyond red pilled. You know what I mean? Yeah, Drake is coworker adjacent, not Kanye red pill adjacent. Okay, fair. Like his most like red pill adjacent thing is that he just like links up with DJ Academics quite a bit. Like, that is the most red pill you can get.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Hey, bro, I'm gonna lose my fucking... He does rap, and it played on the radio a fuck ton. He gained that status. Kendrick does not have that status. Yo, he's boasted for years about being, nah, I'm not like them. I don't sell out. I don't know that. I stand with my shit, whatever. I'm more like this. And the reality is, the analytics go with that. People that are outside the scope of hip hop and rap, they barely get a glimpse of Kendrick. So the fact that you guys think that, like, oh yeah, it's a great fit, guys, everybody knows Kendrick, everybody knows his new song, whatever. No, they don't. They barely heard about it. Like, you are insane. And either you're.
He's trying to say that Kendrick is not mainstream, and that most people don't know about his music, and that Drake is a more mainstream artist, and that Drake would have been a better person to play at the Super Bowl in comparison to Kendrick Lamar. And he's also saying that people don't know Not Like Us. Now, of course, that part is completely wrong. I think a lot of people know who Kendrick is. And he also just, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say like Grammys are not an indication of a mainstream popularity. You could still make that argument, I guess, if you want to. It wouldn't not be the best argument to make, but you could make an argument. You can be a commercial success and not win any Grammys. So you can kind of say that, I guess. Except having said that, the videos from inside of the stadium show that XQC is definitely wrong, especially considering that people were calling Drake a pedophile. Basically, everyone in the stadium sang the A minor side of the song. They sang the pedophile certified, lover boy certified pedophile part of the song. So when you got the whole stadium going crazy, I think at that point it's like probably a pretty decent indicator that the song is popular.
You're like rewriting how all these analytics work is crazy. Brother, Drake's discography eclipses the one from fucking... forget about Drake. A bazillion pop artists absolute eclipse his entire existence. But guys, it's the biggest song of the year because of Spotify analytics. We must play this. We need this guy. People are gonna be loving this.
I guess the other Glazer side of this is to say that like Drake made Kendrick Lamar. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it's trying to say like Kendrick Lamar isn't popular on his own. Like, that's his. Okay, first of all, I am doing Pepega translation here. For those of you who don't know, people can't comprehend what XQC is saying. And after many, many years of dealing with XQC, I have been able to pick up on his speech patterns. So this is not my opinion. Okay? The things that I'm saying right now are not my own personal opinions. Make no mistake. I am simply translating what XQC is saying. Okay? I do not agree with his statements, just so you understand. XQC here is, I believe, making the argument that Kendrick Lamar is not individually popular, and that the reason why, I mean, he's elevated by the industry, and that the only reason why he was even popular, or his song was even popular, is because he went after Drake. Drake is a significantly more popular artist than Kendrick Lamar. That's what he's saying. Okay? I do not agree with this statement. I think Kendrick is an individually successful and individually popular artist with or without the Drake beef. Okay? I just want people to understand. I do not think that, I mean, while I do think that They Not Like Us, classic anti-Semitism against a successful Jewish rapper. I'm surprised I haven't heard that yet. I guess the Snoop Dogg Stop Anti-Semitism ads did not take Adam Friedland, Kendrick Lamar. It would have been nice if you apologized to Drake and the Jewish community, but sigh. They Not Like Us. We all know who they is. That's amazing. That's true. Drake did claim it was anti-Semitic in a lawsuit. He did say that. What's really interesting is that, and perhaps a lot of people in my community are going to get mad at me and immediately say that like I'm a white boy who doesn't understand, but I think Kendrick Lamar did not go anywhere near as hard as he could have, and he had toned it down tremendously in terms of like making political statements. I think he went super balanced. and that it was all right. Like I think Kendrick Lamar's performance left much to be desired on my end. That's what I think. I think it was good, but I expected amazing. That's what I thought. Regardless of the Super Bowl, I think that juxtaposition of Kendrick Lamar being Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl, a person who transcends like a brand as powerful as the Super Bowl, I think was nowhere near as hard. And before you say, "Oh, you don't understand," like Uncle Sam, I get it. No, I'm saying that was nowhere near what my expectations were. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I mean? Like, I'm not saying there wasn't any politics involved in it, or that I didn't understand the political messages within the performance. No, I'm saying I got it, but it was less than I expected. That's all I'm saying. Here's the breakdown if you want.
You wanted that performance to have been about Drake. You want to highlight a minor, which was a minor part of the performance.
Yeah, I that's not what I'm talking about. I was not. I thought he wouldn't have even talked about Drake, maybe. Like, I thought that would have been a message in and of itself. I thought he was going to go ham on just politics. Like, you got to do, obviously, Not Like Us. It's his biggest song. It's his most popular song from this last album. But my expectation 100% was that he was going to go way harder. Kendrick did what I hope he'd do. Didn't try to do too much. Snuck in some little stuff. Kind of meta commentary on what he was participating in. Whole new song, too, which I assume is coming soon. Drake shade was quite satisfying. Serena cameo at the end. Kendrick is not that profound. What? He absolutely is. That's the thing. That is the one thing he is. What are you talking about? You could say like, oh, he doesn't have a lot of hits that are super popular or whatever, right? I mean, you can't say that any longer, but like, that's the one thing that he does like the most, which is why my expectations, I mean, you're talking about dude with a Pulitzer Prize, you know what I mean, for a rap album. But normally he is, and in this situation he also had some subtle nods, but overall I think that my expectation was that he would go way harder, like the divided United States flag, and I guess like I guess like part of it is all the Uncle Sam, obviously, or the fact that like the United States flag was divided. You had like there was a lot of subtle political statements,
because
all comprised of black people. That's the other thing. And that he mentioned 40 acres and a mule. But anyway, let's keep going.
Performance was not about Drake. It was about us, the United States of America, in this moment in American history. That's why he started with squabble up, because that's what we got to do. We have to fight back in order to survive. Kendrick Lamar, the embodiment of swift artistry and Gemini genius, and the first solo rapper to headline a Super Bowl, delivered a performance rich with symbolism, some of which may have been missed on first watch. But I promise you, it's going to be discussed by cultural.
You want him to go harder in this climate where black people have to deal with enough as it is? He signaled to his target audience, and that was enough. Black people perfectly understood what he was talking about, respectfully. Okay, we're leaving that. We're leaving that kind of sentiment in 2024. Okay, we're here. We're in here. We're just you're having a conversation with me. Okay, please stop. Like no, we're not doing this. Okay, I'm just telling you what my expectation is. Yes, I thought he would go harder. Okay, yes, at a time when black people are under attack, my expectation was that Kendrick Lamar, black man, would go harder. White guy talking about what black people want. Try not to laugh. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. It's because I'm racist, dude. Come on, get with the program. I'm racist. I'm a white supremacist, man. Okay. That's it. That's who you've been watching this whole time. Shut up. And now chat calling them woke. Can we please not be a parody of the right? No, it's just so annoying. All right. Anyway, let's continue. And before people say, oh, what do you mean? It's Kendrick Lamar. Like, can he do a normal ass halftime show? Yeah, it's Kendrick Lamar. What are you talking about? It's Kendrick Lamar. It's not like, yeah, if it was J. Cole, my expectations would not be that he comes out with like a political message, or if he did, it would probably be like very liberal #resistance style. But it's fucking Kendrick Lamar. Jesus Christ. Like, that's it.
Decades to come as one of the first bold protests of the Trump era. And I'm going to tell you right here, baby, I'm so glad that Donald Trump was there to see the blackest halftime performance of all time. He had Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, dancers dressed in red, white, and blue prison uniforms, creating patterns that resembled and gave us an American flag, symbolizing both patriotism and critique of all the issues in this country regarding equality and the battle for it. The performers in prison uniforms, really was my favorite part. Just think about it. Where America's society wants to relegate us, wants to put us, prison, wage slavery, mere entertainment. And at a time when Black excellence is under attack, facing false equivalencies and the misguided relevance of the anti-DEI movement, Kendrick Lamar's choreography and visuals underscored a bigger point. The repetition of the flag reinforces both a celebration of who we are, our American identity, and also an indictment of the contradictions that identity holds for all of us, not just Black people, not just all of us. So this performance was not about Drake. I know some of you are wondering, you're saying to yourself, so if this performance wasn't about Drake, then what was Like Us all about? Well, ours inclusion of Not Like Us, even in a censored form, brought attention to ongoing debates about accountability and power dynamic. It's about holding public figures, whether they be Donald Trump, Drake, or Elon Musk, accountable for their actions. See, the oligarchs who paid $1 million to attend an inauguration, or an oligarch who paid $200 million to influence a national election, those people, they're not like us.
No, man, it's like that's what people expected him to do. The singleness is key. Stop playing loud. Stop being ghetto, while he's literally telling you in front of your face with eloquent and subtle messages, man, chef's kiss. What? Yeah, that's what I was saying. My criticism of Kendrick Lamar was that he was too black and too ghetto. What the fuck? No, I just don't think it was that profound. Yeah, he did the whole like black people made this country. That's why they comprised of the flag. And then the flag was divided. The chatter didn't mean you said that. Here's the FD signifier take from this morning.
Let's get the clear politics out the way. The NFL is a multinational evil corporation, one of the worst. They do millions of dollars worth of propaganda and support for the American military apparatus. He was brought in by Jay-Z. We all know the problems with Jay-Z.
It's not even a risk for Kendrick Lamar. Like, you want him to go harder and risk it, but that's not. That was the line Samuel Jackson said, bro. Sometimes I hate watching white men be fragile when us black people want to tell y'all it's not for you to get. I don't care. Okay. At the end of the day, I don't think it's all that serious. I'm just saying, as a fan of Kendrick Lamar, Hassan, you don't know shit about music. It's true. There are a lot of artists out there that engage in political messages that are way above their pay grade. Okay. Or they try to do political messages, and oftentimes they swing and they miss as a consequence of not having a fully flushed out worldview. Kendrick Lamar is not one of these artists. So my expectation there is not for Kendrick to be like, oh, we got to resist, something along those lines. But instead, my expectation there from Kendrick Lamar is to, at least with the imagery, invoke more anger potentially at the administration, at the entirety of the government, from a perspective of like where we're at in this moment in time, where American white supremacy has never really gone away. But at this stage, it's becoming even more overt than it was before. Okay? There are, throughout America's experiences with liberalism, there have been times where white supremacy has gotten on the back foot, even though it has very much been a fundamental aspect of American societal development. It's been there. It's never gone away, except now it's being used offensively, more so than in the past couple of decades. That's why I said I think Kendrick Lamar's performance was good, but my expectation was like mind-blowing, because it is Kendrick Lamar, That's it. You talking lib, not gonna lie. I'm talking lib for saying that white supremacy is fundamentally important to American societal development. You think this is a lib take? Anyway, But yeah, there was a decent amount of Drake stuff in there. There was a decent amount of like blackness in it, and the celebration of blackness in it. And I'll just say it like this. It was, I guess, my opinion that Kendrick Lamar did not go hard enough is kind of reaffirmed by the reaction to it. Because the reaction to it was basically Republicans doing the same thing that they always do, to be like, well, there's a black person there. This is DEI. Whereas, like, if he had gone way harder, Ben Shapiro would be having a fucking aneurysm. Instead, he basically turned around and said, I can't understand what he's saying. Classic racism. Okay? You can't say that while dressed like that, buddy. True. I am wearing the worst outfit for this. But let's continue.
He would
let's
not be allowed
let's see what Unc had to say.
Do much or say much, excuse me, as the halftime performer. And so what ends up happening is we get what Beyonce did, which is we're going to symbolically do something radical. And what that ends up really being is just a co-option of that radical imagery. You know what I'm saying? Where'd it go? What it ends up being is a co-option of that radical energy. And that's really, I don't like that shit. And I'm happy Kendrick didn't really do anything. I didn't really like the, so there's a possibility that there's things about the halftime show that I don't fully get yet, and I'll be waiting for other.
Yeah, one of the other funniest parts about this, by the way, is that they also didn't understand, like a lot of right-wingers, understandably, did not understand the Uncle Sam reference or the American flag, and they actually thought that it was positive. Like, they thought that it was actually America finally, one of the blackest rappers out there at the Super Bowl had the main stage and was like, I'm a patriot. I love the United States of America. Like, obviously that wasn't the point. He wasn't doing that at all. And that point was lost on many Americans because they're very stupid. That's not what I'm saying either. But having said that, I think that there was, I don't know, he could have just like hung a Klansman or something. That's all I'm saying.
People to deep dive into it, to say, to deep dive into it, to say, oh, this meant this, this meant that. I thought the Uncle Sam thing was cute. There's definitely a very purposeful, so I think what we got at best was a meta commentary on what it means to be a black celebrity performing this type of event, which was pretty cool. If you didn't catch it, the show basically had 3 acts. Act 1 was Kendrick trying to be himself, right? He starts out with that unreleased song. I think somebody said his name, Bodies. He says the revolution will be televised, which, and we introduce Samuel Jackson. I think it's a very purposeful the line delivery. Sam gets up and says, hey, it's your Uncle Sam. And he says it just like that. And if there's one reach I'll make, I think that's a commentary on Snoop Dogg and Nelly and all of them. Because at the end of the day, they're performing for Donald Trump, right?
Yeah. Snoop Dogg, ironically, Snoop Dogg's been getting cooked up and down the timeline. Part of it is because he very famously in 2016, when artists were doing, Trump bits first time around and talking about how they wanted to perform at the inauguration, Snoop Dogg came out and was like, he said a bunch of words that I will not say. Okay, including, but not limited to, calling them uncles. Now, Snoop Dogg also famously performed at Trump's inauguration party this time around. So many people brought that back and were like, oh, really, Snoop Dogg? That's how you tell us how you really feel. So I think that there is definitely, a nod, or a, people are pointing to black artists that have caved to the Trump wave and gotten on the Trump train. No, uncle is not a slur. Chatters, come on.
I didn't know that going into it, but that was the performance. And so you have Samuel Jackson as Uncle Sam. Samuel Jackson has a pretty radical background. For those who don't know, like, Sam Jack is it's true. was about that life in his youth before he.
Samuel Jackson literally kidnapped a dean. Samuel Jackson is amazing. Samuel Jackson, when he was in college, was insane. I mean, he's awesome. Yes, he was expelled from Morehouse in the 60s for holding Martin Luther King Jr.'s father hostage. They locked board members in a building for 2 days in the protest of the school's curriculum and governance. Included in this group of people who were held hostage was Martin Luther King Jr.'s very own father, Martin Luther King Sr. In 1966, during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, Jackson enrolled at the historically black Morehouse College in Atlanta, the alma mater of Martin Luther King Jr. In 1968, when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, King's body was brought to Atlanta to lie at the state at Spelman College, a historically black women's school adjacent to Morehouse. Yeah. Samuel Jackson in his youth was, let's just say, YouTube drama tubers would be making a lot of videos about how he's a terrorist. Yes. Before you shit yourself, chat. No, they didn't do it directly to kidnap MLK's father. Yeah. Why is that celebrated? I'm uneducated in this regard. Why is that celebrated? Because militancy coming from the Black Panther Party and the Civil Rights Movement, regardless of how much the American education system tries to whitewash it, was on the right side of history. Okay, Jackson attended King's funeral as one of the ushers and then flew to Memphis to join an equal rights protest march that changed the way he taught. I was angry about the assassination, but I wasn't shocked by it. I knew that change was going to take something different. Not sit-ins, not peaceful coexistence. He stated in an interview with Parade about his reactions to King's death. In 1969, as mentioned before, he and a group of activist Morehouse students held the college's board of trustees hostage, demanding that changes be made to the curriculum of the school and stated that they wanted more blacks on the governing board of the institution. Morehouse eventually gave in and agreed to the change, but Jackson was expelled for his actions. That summer, he became connected with people in the Black Power movement, including Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, and others. I was in that radical faction, Jackson told Parade. We were buying guns, getting ready for armed struggle. All of a sudden, he said proudly, I felt I had a voice. I was somebody. I could make a difference. But then one day, he added quietly, my mom showed up and put me on a plane to LA. She said, do not come back to Atlanta. The FBI had been in her house and told her that if I didn't get out of Atlanta, there was a good possibility I'd be dead within a year. She freaked out. Anyway, the best part of the halftime show is the conservative meltdown over it. I'm just saying that there wasn't even that much conservative meltdown over it, partially because I feel like it was... the messaging was subtle and also did not go as hard as I thought it would. That was the point I was trying to make, at least. No wonder he killed it as Steven in Django. Yeah. All right, let's continue.
He got into acting. There's a story about him.
A lot of conservatives are also duped by the invocation of the American flag. Like, they literally are too stupid to understand anything.
At Morehouse College and some other students taking over a campus building to protest something. I don't remember the full story, but he was about that life. So using Sam Jack there was cool. And so you see at the beginning, Kendrick is being, a bit more aggressive. And you're like, oh, maybe we will get something that is provocative. Again, I want to be clear. I wasn't looking or desiring anything provocative from Kendrick here. I'm still refining. I'm developing new takes on like what I want from Black art in our political reality right now. But I do know for a fact that I don't want half measures from Black artists anymore. I don't want them to try to have their cake and eat it too and end up just doing something that's co-opted and counterinsurgent. I just over that. That's just another thing. Sound mixing was ass. We'll get to that in a second.
That was the other part of it. It was definitely, the sound mixing was like shockingly bad, where he came out blown out. You could, or his voice, you could not hear. The music was way louder.
Still, like normally I haven't had a coffee yet. We'll see how sharp this is. Let me check on, because my kid should be leaving. Rohan.
Okay.
Which are both actually relatively aggressive tracks. We get this American flag motif. I've had a lot of people read that differently. I stand by the point I said earlier, which is not earlier, but like months ago when I talked about this, which is I'm not much for reclaiming the American flag. I'm sure there's a logic behind it, but it falls flat for me. However, it is clear he was trying to say something there. What? I'm not sure. Again, I'll be waiting for other people to really break this down and like give the full talk on all the different symbology. I do think it was purposeful that the American flag was made up of all Black men, right? Yeah. There's something to that. That's not an accident that he got all Black men to make up this American flag, and they're not standing there like it's a very, there's people saying, well, this is speaking to how America's built off our backs, or, to, the relevance of Black men's voting patterns. I don't know, but it was something I didn't quite get it. And it wasn't overly, whatever it was, I don't think it was meant to be like very explicit or demonstrative in his messaging. I think he just wasn't allowed to do that. And, fine. Like, again, I wouldn't have wanted him to do much more than that, because it's on the fucking Super Bowl. It's just, I don't know. To me, it makes more sense to do something not so provocative on that stage, because it immediately becomes co-opted. There's a great video. I think Broy Deschanel made it. And I also talked, I don't know, this particular take developed to me all at once. I got it from a Broy Deschanel video. It probably was Dr. Ball. Looking forward to what Dr. Ball says about this. I'm sure he'll have some classic stuff on it. And somebody else, they talked about the fact that there's a thing called jester's privilege. And Broy Deschanel talked about it with the Barbie movie. And basically, it's a really slick, like, co-op counterintelligence type thing that happens with these giant corporations and these giant media companies, where they will allow themselves to be critiqued on their platforms, in their media. They will say, yeah, you can, like the Barbie movie, oh yeah, call us all the things. Call and tell all the things. Talk all about all the bad parts of our company, but in our movie. And so what they do in doing that is they immediately undercut the critique. You know what I'm saying? So having Barbie be criticized heavily within a Barbie movie, it ends up being a half measure. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm happy that Kendrick didn't go much further than he did, because I'd have been more annoyed by him doing something more grand on the NFL's dime. It's just, that's me. I'm sure there's a take that's different that I don't get. And I'm looking forward to hearing those. Maybe I'll change my mind, but that was me. So he plays the hits. Then SZA comes out. He throws a little jab at Drake. We'll get to that in a second too. SZA comes out. They do some more hits. And then Sam Jack comes again. Sam Jack comes the second time to correct him. He has this, probably the most overtly provocative moment was the snippet of Man at the Garden he did, where he was on the corner, and it's all these very overtly Black male images on the corner with him under the streetlight. Brother with locks and golds. Everybody's got white tees and jeans. So that again speaks to this motif of like us not going anywhere, us being a Black people, Black men specifically, being a clear part of the national fabric. Yeah, cool. And then SZA comes out, and yeah, somebody said it.
It's not in the NFL dime. FD is an L for this. Artists have to pay for their performances. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate this position. It's not, Kendrick Lamar is not a regular artist, okay? Like, I think the expectation is that he's supposed to go above and beyond. You know what I mean? And no, it's not the NFL paying for it. This is Apple, I think, Apple Music paying for it. I agree with up to the point he says it's the wrong stage. Messaging being co-opted or modified by the platform and critiques, at least it brings light to the way in which it disallows or manipulates it and plays it for its own purpose.
Oh, no, I don't agree with this. Everybody's mic was trash. SZA's mic, SZA did not feel ready for the spotlight at the moment. I don't know if that was just mixing in the thing, but the sound was so much louder than her. It was so much louder than her. Like I could barely hear her on All the Stars. It's just,
at least we can all agree that the sound mixing was bad. I'm glad that we can at least agree on that front, because everyone is yelling at me saying you don't understand. He did an insane amount. He was basically Che Guevara, and I don't think he went that hard, but
cool. Then Sam Jack comes out,
but I don't think SZA was blown out in the same way that Kendrick's audio was definitely quiet. I think SZA's was, I believe SZA's might have been pre-recorded. I don't understand how the Super Bowl does the Super Bowl is the largest live performance and they still have yet to figure out sound mixing. Like, how is that? Girl, what you talking about? Hoscord hates you? Oh no, I can't believe Hoscord hates me. No, what will I do? I am, after all, I am captive to my audience. And I would dare never say a take that most of my community disagrees with. They have like 5 minutes to set everything up. They can't soundtrack with a full crowd. I just don't understand how. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's obviously also the self-censorship due to it being broadcasted on television. There's a lot of words that you can't say, which I think takes away from the performance. That's understandable. But let's continue.
And he like kind of speaks to the fact like, all right, you did good, everything was safe. We go home, and you're right, audio engineer was not ready for the big game. We good, we go home, and then he comes back and he does not like us and turn the TV off. I'll come back to not like us.
I guess, yeah, it's so incredibly difficult to fix the sound for that huge of an area of a live broadcast. You're crazy. Yeah, it might be because you're right. I don't know the technicalities. I don't know. So I don't know how it would work. Getting cooked. What is unexpected from Kendrick? The history of all hitherto existing society is a class struggle. Yes, that is unironically, that is what I expected from Kendrick Lamar. Why? It's Kendrick Lamar. So yes, I think it's crazy to not expect that. But
the second verse with the mustard part, or I don't know if that's maybe the third verse. Is there 2 verses? I don't know. I gotta go back. I don't know how the song works. And so turn the TV off has a again some subversive stuff going on there. It has a game motif at the beginning, and so this is my take right now. Again, Kendrick is recognizing that he's a part of a game and playing a game, and turn the TV off. A lot of people did. The Super Bowl lost 1.8 million watchers after the halftime show, from what I hear.
Okay, to be fair, I think that had more to do with not Kendrick Lamar's performance, but the performance of the Chiefs. Yeah, I think that was the real reason why people turned the TV off. I'm gonna be honest. I think that was, if you're in any way, shape, or form invested in the Chiefs winning, whether you have a financial interest in the Chiefs winning or at least not getting cumstered, I think that was probably the reason why you turned the TV off, or you broke your television by directly Superman punching it because you were down, I don't know, whatever disposable income you dumped into this game. So I think that's probably what it was.
And maybe there's a through line between the revolution will be televised and turn the TV off that I'm just now thinking about. Because my takeaway and thing I would like to put out there from the halftime show is people need to stop looking for artists and people like Kendrick to be revolutionaries. Take your ass outside. I saw a lot of people that seem to be upset and angry that Kendrick didn't do something bigger and more demonstrative.
Me.
Trump there with America watching, after this election, with all the stuff happening in the world, in our government right now, et cetera. And you want Kendrick to come and be your catharsis for all the things that you need to be handling yourself. And he's like, nah, turn the TV off. That's how I'm gonna take it. I fucks with that one. You know what I'm saying? Lil Bill on the track. Congratulations to Lil Bill. I ain't even talked about the fact where Bill go. I lost him in the chat. But the Eagles did win. What was I saying though? So like I think that's the best he could have did. What I have as a Kendrick fan and a person suffering in this current political reality right now, I would have loved for something big and overt and dynamic from Kendrick for this Super Bowl performance. I would have loved that. That would have been amazing. But I don't think that would have been the right thing, because what we don't need from our artists right now is catharsis. Whatever desire you had for Kendrick to go up there and do something big and grand and meaningful that makes you feel like you're part of the resistance just by watching him.
A different black person expecting activism from that, like that from Kendrick, when he also gave us Mike Brown would have not been killed if we respected ourselves and didn't loot, is goofy. And people expecting him to be a voice for black people's corny. Malcolm X said something about this, like, why do our activists have to be musicians and athletes? I think it's just because it's still Kendrick Lamar. It's not like any kind of, like, it's not just like a random dude. It's not like a random popular mainstream celebrity. That's it. Having said that, I still enjoyed the performance, which, many people are taking issue with me saying that he didn't go hard enough. But stat nerd, Super Bowl viewers is very meh as a metric. It depends on the game. Literally in 2015, 16, 17, the halftime show had more views than the actual game because the games were shit. Almost all of them lose viewership at halftime because later night East Coast is a break and not everyone comes back. Normal stuff. But he does not do politics. Wait, what? Kendrick Lamar does not do politics? What are you saying? That's all Kendrick Lamar does. What is happening right now? What? This is crazy. If he went any further, he would have had the entire Republican propaganda machine after him today, Law. I don't know. I think overall, I think that we've basically there is a feeling of capitulation in the air from any kind of resistance against the Trump administration, the acceleration towards fascism. And I feel like this was this like more softened approach. I don't know why we can't let artists be artists. We don't have this level of expectation from anyone, let alone our elected officials, only because it's Kendrick Lamar. My expectation would not be the same from any other artist. But once again, I will repeat this position. I liked it. I just thought that it didn't go as hard. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Them not to do that for you.
But there is no expectation that celebrities, or at least for me, there's no expectation that celebrities are going to save us. That's it.
Force you to sit in that energy. I think that's the best possible thing he could have done. That's how I feel about it. You know, I didn't want a big grand thing from him. I wanted exactly what we got. What we got was a cool, somewhat provocative, a couple little nuggets, halftime show with just enough meat where people feel like there was something there, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Again, I'll let other people analyze and come up with their takes, and then we move on. You know, oops, where'd it go? Yeah, there you go. I think I hyped it up to be bigger after I heard the president would be there and knowing who Kendrick is. I should have known better. Yeah, you can't, you cannot, and you should not, like anybody that feels, if you felt vexed after Kendrick's performance because it didn't give you the catharsis, take that energy to the streets this weekend. Go to a meeting, you know, hit your Google, see what I guarantee you there's a mutual aid fund in your city or state you could be donating to.
BLM is not politics, it's self-preservation. I think you're confused. Self-preservation as a black is not politics. Can you name a political thing from Kendrick that isn't just common sense? Everything isn't politics to everybody. I mean, black existence in America is political in a white supremacist society. Accurately mentioning that those experiences is obviously political. I'm so confused as to how there are people in this community, a community of political commentary, having these kinds of takes. I'm a little confused. Team Jeffrey saying, what leverage do we have is the epitome of the lingering feeling of capitulation. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. And I will admit that even I myself, as a political commentator, kind of feel rudderless as well. But that's just kind of how things are at this moment.
You could be doing so many things to get you that same catharsis that are actually more meaningful and useful than having a big celebrity say the thing for you on TV. You know, Kendrick is not your savior. We're 3-4 years deep into that slogan at this point. But the only other thing that's bad about it is the vocal qualities. Kendrick. So it hit me that Kendrick is the first rapper to completely do the Super Bowl by himself. And the last time we had, it was Dr. Dre and Snoop and
Where are you
Kendrick
going?
and Eminem, and that was pretty good. But they got to split the the effort. And like, I don't know if y'all understand, especially for a rapper, it's hard for a singer too, but for a rapper, that's a really hard performance. Like to be running around doing limited choreography, to remember all your lyrics, to cut out the curse words, to do a lot of that. That is top tier breath control. Like people don't know, like rapping is not easy to do, period. It's not easy to do live. And you add choreography and running around a stadium or a football field to get that crisp say Drake like that. that was really impressive. If only the audio engineer could hold up his end of the bargain. You know, it was very, very, very impressive in that regard. All right, let's talk about the Drake slander.
I'm betting so many of these shadows are not black and just white knighting. I agree with your take and thought the same while watching. People watching in their fanboy goggles, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, the Drake stuff was awesome. It was good. It was funny. It was perfectly timed, and it pissed off everybody that weirdly took offense to it. It's one of those strange moments where you have people taking ownership over the criticisms for no particular reason. I don't know why. A lot of people are Drake fans that took ownership over it. You had the obvious DEI halftime show from Jack Posobiec because, you know, black people, classic stupid guy take. You had more classic stupid guy racist takes. This is not music. This is some loser mumbling. There's nothing artistic or redeeming about this. NFL, stop behaving like Americans like this. Saying Kendrick Lamar is mumble rapping is insane. It's just, there's perhaps no better indication of your own personal racist position, I think. That's like old school, 2000 era racism. Oh, he's mumbling. I don't understand what he's saying. Okay. Americans are so funny when they get mad at black culture, like racist Americans getting mad at black culture or rap music in general, when without black people and without black culture, Americans' cultural export is not even halved. It's literally almost entirely, it's reduced to nothing. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you have? A ridiculous position. Ridiculous position in general. Benny Johnson chirping again. Hey, NFL, Trump won. We no longer let talentless, mumbling, pagan, satanic cults do halftime shows and pretend like people like it. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Saying Kendrick Lamar is a paganist, Satan worshiper. Kendrick Lamar is a Democrat. His producers are Democrats. Everyone who works for him is a Democrat. Why is there no diversity or inclusion or equity in this halftime show? Or does that work only one way? Just basically trying to fire off as many takes as possible in an effort to get some of that delicious algorithmic boost on Twitter. Once again, the Surfs actually comes out with a good take here as well. Crazy idea. Play a halftime show where a band plays music. Bold decision to hire a halftime performer. Like Matt Walsh wants polka or something. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Why can't someone just come out there and play the accordion? I'm Matt Walsh. That would be something that we really enjoy. Bizarre decision by the NFL to have some guy come out and lethargically mumble a bunch of songs that 90% of the NFL audience has never heard. Bold decision to hire a halftime performer who doesn't actually perform. And the Surfs is right. The right has complete and total control, and they're still annoyed and upset. They just love to complain. They love complaining. There is nothing the right likes more than complaining. Okay? This music is not my style. Some people are saying, yes, how? Does anyone actually like this crap? It's just like, what do you want? You are dominating. You got everything you wanted. Trump is president. He's popular. Okay? He's gutting the federal agencies. He's doing everything you wanted. Egg prices are through the roof due to the avian flu with seemingly no control over this problem. Okay? It's now patriotic to pay more for goods. It's officially patriotic to pay more for goods. And y'all are still complaining. It doesn't make any sense. When will the complaints go away? The Hogs want Jelly Roll to do the halftime show. Yeah. Honestly, it's just a skill issue for these conservatives. What is this? Amazing. They're actually mirroring and proving the personification of America through Uncle Sam in the performance. Yeah. Conservatives know they will never win the cultural war. They desperately want liberals to think they're cool and it will never happen. Yeah. The problem with that is that Andrew Breitbart once famously said, politics is downstream of culture, right? It's almost like the reverse of a Gramscian analysis, if I understand it correctly. Okay? The issue there is that conservatives do believe it. They don't want to shape culture in a way where it suits their political goals, because their political goals have nothing to do with popular mobilization anyway. So while they dominate every aspect of the government, okay, they still basically want to complain, because the one aspect that they truly want is broad recognition and popularity. They want to be loved. They don't care about dominating culture in an effort to create popular mobilization for their causes, like, you know, white supremacy, abolition of DEI, whatever that means, or, I don't know, abolishing the Department of Education. They simply want to be liked, okay? They want to be liked. They want to be popular for their opinions. That's it. And it's very stupid because, yeah, on the one hand, like, sure, liberalism is the domineering attitude in most aspects of media, and yet liberals have nothing. They have nothing. They ain't got no motion right now. They're losing everywhere, and conservatives are still mad. They can't even celebrate their victories because their victories to them mean nothing. They don't care about actually advancing a right-wing agenda, because at the end of the day, I think that right-wing agenda is inherently harmful to broad swaths of the working class anyway. Okay, we went from, and then you have the other side of the conservative spectrum, by the way, people who don't have any media literacy whatsoever, who saw the American flag and thought, oh, this is good. We went from kneeling during the national anthem to a halftime show showcasing USA flag colors. We're so back. A few years ago, they were endorsing burning the USA flag, and now Samuel L. Jackson is Uncle Sam at the Super Bowl. Hollywood is desperately trying to get America to pay attention to them again. Yeah, definitely. This was actually a positive figure. Like, Kendrick Lamar put Samuel L. Jackson in an Uncle Sam costume, which was, I believe, was it Bodie or Marnie? Regardless, beautiful. The outfits were amazing. That's a totally separate thing. Like, Kendrick Lamar's pants are so fire. Holy moly. Anyway, I haven't even, it's Bodie, right? Uncle Sam was Bodie. Kendrick Lamar was addressed by, I forget. Kendrick's pants are Celine. Was it Celine? All right, chill. Bell bottoms are back. Bell bottoms were around for, Kendrick wore Martine Rose and the pants are Celine. Thank you. So, no, they were not Amiri. I don't think Kendrick Lamar would wear Amiri. Please. Anyway, I don't know what, the jacket is Martine Rose. I know that. It was custom made for this. But anyway, when you speak designer, it sounds like gibberish to me. Don't think you can save yourself with saving his pants were good that take earlier about Kendrick's performance. Yeah, I'm really worried that people don't like my criticism or my commentary on it. I'm so scared. Yeah, here. A breakdown of everything Kendrick Lamar wore during the halftime Super Bowl show. 24 hours since the performance. Much has already been discussed about the possible meanings behind his massive lowercase a chain, but I think that A is the PG Lang logo A that has been around for quite some time, as well as his custom varsity jacket, not to mention those bootcut jeans. Here, Vibe hosts, the A minor, the most discussed item in Kendrick Lamar wore during the headlining Super Bowl halftime gig was a lowercase a. Viewers who have been following his feud with Drake immediately recognized it was a reference to Not Like Us, A minor, which was sung by the massive stadium as he performed his hit diss track. Except this article is wrong. The A is a PG Lang logo. So sorry to Vibe.com. As a matter of fact, that lowercase a is a double entendre in this situation, but it's actually the PG Lang logo. No, it was an Amazon ad. No, it wasn't. Even though, yes, Kendrick Lamar's label is, I think, signed to Amazon in general. Lamar's jewelers like Eliante, thanks to the iced out piece, they're responsible for blinding it. Diamond eye ring over black gloves. The diamond eye ring Kenny sports over his black leather gloves, also by Eliante, with the jeweler sharing an up-close look at the stunner weeks ahead of the show. The denim was from Celine. It was sick. The varsity jacket was custom made by Martine Rose. The Compton kid also wore a Martine Rose bespoke leather varsity jacket with the production company PG Lang sprawled across the back, while Gloria, a reference to GNX song of the same name, is placed across the front. He had a black New Era fitted with diamond brooches. And he had Nike Air DT Max 96s. What is this? Kendrick has clearly read the psychosis of race, drawing together Lacan's object, A, and the effects of its non-mediation and psychosis. We can begin to determine the psychotic's unique position. Kendrick Lamar wears a chain seemingly referencing the Lacanian object petite A during a Super Bowl performance. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is a Lacanian. Anyway, but yeah, getting back to the conservatives failing to understand any kind of political messaging, even if it's not very, even if it's like subtle or light. Talking about designer clothes that a millionaire is wearing is very socialist of you. Yes, I like fashion. I've liked fashion when I didn't have any money, and I still like fashion even though I have money. If this is anti-socialist, then so be it. I am anti-socialist. I love capitalism. It's cringe. I know. I should be talking about whatever your personal silly hobby is, which is, I don't know, maybe Warhammer 40K figurines. You'd be in here salivating if I was talking about that instead, but I'm not. Okay? It's fine. Everybody has a type of commodity that they enjoy. Okay? That's it. Some people enjoy 4090s. Some people enjoy Warhammer 40K figurines. Some people enjoy Pokemon card packs. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not shitting on Warhammer 40K figurines. Okay? Especially the level of detail that you have to put in, the amount of hours that you have to put in to creating these tiny figures that are looking as lifelike as possible. I think it's fantastic. Okay? I'm not shitting on it at all. I'm simply stating that everyone has their own personal hobbies. This is mine. This is something that I like and enjoy. And as I always tell people, allow people to enjoy things. Okay? I'm going to call you the U.S. Air Force with your instances of friendly fire. Once again, I'm not shitting on Warhammer 40K figurines. I'm simply stating that, to each their own. Didn't that Japanese fashion chick like your stuff too? Yes, she did. Consume high fashion rags sewn by Bangladeshi slaves. Ironically enough, most high fashion stuff is not actually made in Bangladesh. It's ironically high fashion and more expensive, partially because it's made directly in the countries where the fashion houses are built and designed. But we're not going to get into that. But, Yeah, high fashion is literally the only clothing made in West Italy mostly. Yeah, but that's besides the point. You're comparing 40K to high fashion. It's praise, if anything. Yeah. Or making videos about people you dislike or don't agree with. Tomato. What? I saw on that Drake glazing today. Wait, what? So it's colonialist instead of exploitative? Yes. I do like when people go, oh, this thing that I don't enjoy, I'm going to criticize it socialistly. Like, you're not. You've done a socialism. Why are you glazing Drake? What the fuck? I am not. I don't know why anyone would ever say that. If anything, I'm always glazing Kendrick. Maybe a little too much, but okay. Sorry to actually this, but Italy allows most garments to be made elsewhere and final assembly done in Italy to be marked by made in Italy. Yeah, that is definitely there's definitely an element to that as well. Having said that, the garments that are being produced by what you would oh God, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this conversation? Most of the shit is literally what that chatter was talking about is fast fashion, which is affordable. Okay, affordable fashion is unironically created through hyper exploitative circumstances in comparison to high fashion, which is usually not. Okay, but that's besides the point anyway, because none of this has anything to do with socialism. We're so back. Finally, the NFL joins in celebrating U.S. flag instead of disrespecting us during halftime. Finally, a non-woke satanic halftime show. Kendrick Lamar showing off the American flag. I love this. So there was certainly a very real political moment, but it did not capture. It was not captured by the cameras. I think it was deliberately hidden from the cameras on the national stage. However, if you looked hard enough, you could find it. And I'm not talking about this. A black man performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. No BLM messaging. No rainbow flags flying. His whole dance team is repping red, white, and blue. I'm pleasantly surprised so far. That's not what I was talking about, of course. What I'm talking about is the brave dancer that was a part of Kendrick Lamar's team right here. You can see if you squint hard enough on the top left corner, busted out a Free Sudan and Free Gaza flag that he had on him. He was actually a part of the dance team, and he was waving it loud and proud. And then he jumps down, still waving it, still showcasing it, until he gets, of course, tackled inevitably. So initially, when they were covering this, people were a little confused. Some thought it was a part of the show. Some thought it was a random person who snuck into the group. But no, this was actually a cast member who did a very brave thing. Cast member who displayed the Palestinian flag with the word Gaza in protest during Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show will not face charges, New Orleans police said Monday. Part of that was also initially, the police were basically looking for any charges to hit him with, and they simply could not find a charge to hit him with. So until this article came out, most articles that were covering it were saying that the police were basically looking for something that they could charge him with, you know, I guess disrupting the NFL halftime Super Bowl show is not illegal, but they were basically looking for something. But considering that he was one of the dancers, it gave him some semblance of coverage. You couldn't hit him with like trespassing or anything like that because he was literally one of the dancers. The banner combined the black stripes of the flags honored by the Sudanese and Palestinian peoples and also the word Sudan on it. The cast member, one of dozens of dancers clad in identical black sweats, held it high while standing on the roof of the car that was the centerpiece of the hip-hop artist's performance, and then jumped off the stage and ran across the field before being tackled by several men in suits. The cast member had hidden the flag, and no one was involved in the production was aware of the individual's intent, the NFL said Sunday, adding that the person has earned a lifetime ban from league stadiums and events. Roc Nation, the entertainment company which produced the halftime show, said in a statement provided by the NFL that the flag display was not planned. President Donald Trump was in the stadium for the game, but it wasn't clear if he saw the protest. Trump's comments asserting that his government is committed to buying and owning Gaza have been widely rejected by the Palestinian people, upending discussions about the enclave's future. So I guess I wasn't the only one who thought Kendrick wasn't being political enough. It seems like there was at least one dancer in Kendrick's crew that also thought the same and thought that he would take matters into his own hands. So this leads me to believe that if there were no charges for him, that he was falsely tackled, it seems. Yes, I did see this, by the way. People saying Kendrick Lamar should have used the halftime performance to make a statement like he didn't just have the same dancers who made up the American flag collapse into 100 individual swastikas. I don't know if that's what is going on here, but you're really dying on this hill. It's not a hill. I need you guys to understand something very important, okay? I need you to understand something very important. This is not a hill. If this is a hill for you, get better hills, okay? Like, we can have disagreements, especially on, artistic interpretation, especially in the realm of politics, especially when the artist itself that we're talking about is a very political artist. So I just need you to understand, this is not a hill that someone is dying on. We can have disagreements on this kind of stuff, especially because art is subject to interpretation and it is very subjective. So everyone needs to cool their jets. This is not my opinion on something that is directly causing people to die, for example. Okay, please. Having said that, yeah, it's art. Art is not supposed to have. All art is supposed to be subjective in both the reception of it. He made plenty of political statements. It's whether they spoke to you or caught you, but you aren't a black American, but you caught the flag. Very interesting. Wait, no, I caught the political statements like with Uncle Sam and things of that nature, or the unapologetic blackness as a juxtaposition to what Uncle Sam was saying, what his demands were of Kendrick Lamar, the demands reflected by broader society that you're not supposed to be unapologetically black. I understand that. That wasn't necessarily hidden anyway. Also, I'm not a fucking dumbass conservative who goes, there's a flag here, so this must mean it's pro-America. No, I got that. I got the fact that it was all black men that were comprising, that made up the flag, which is a testament to, how America was built on the backs of black men. Slavery. That wasn't even subtext. It was text in general. That's not what I'm talking about. You're forgetting those 3D trick pictures where you stare for a while and something jumps at you. Those have answers. I also thought that it was interesting. The revolution will be televised, but he is the wrong guy. I thought that statement was an interesting one in general. Maybe that was him basically saying, like, it could be something that people consider about Donald Trump potentially. Or maybe he was saying you picked the right time but the wrong guy as a like, this is a time for revolution, and yet I am not the right person for it. So, and this goes along with previous takes that Kendrick Lamar has made about political activism, stating that he is not supposed to be people's savior, that he's supposed to get you there. Something that I personally understand, even with my own political commentary, that he is simply a vessel for the message, that he is a messenger and not necessarily an activist or a leader. But yeah, apparently this is the brave dancer who held up the flag. Yeah. Yeah, FFF Zulkarnain. Alhamdulillah, may Allah grant us the courage, surety, and strength of Moses in Pharaoh's kingdom. The twist on Gil Scott-Heron's song, he says they won't take over the black art, we will be seen, and he's not the right guy, meaning that he won't run defense for the industry like Drake did. This TikTok shows some good points about the performance.
Not the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and
A on the train, A minor scale, which was how the scale is represented musically. Also another diss. No, this is a PG Lang logo for the record. Serena Williams' cameo. I mean, yeah, this was cool too, obviously. Serena Williams is Drake's ex. Well, I don't even know if we can consider it that, but Drake apparently was very annoying about Serena Williams for a very long time. And, you know, she is crip walked in the past as well. Like, I guess they like he pursued her for quite some time and was very creepy about it. She's crip walked before. I mean, this is her background. This is where she's from. And of course she did the same on the performance at the NFL halftime show as well. Appeared as a dancer, an undeniable dig, given her history, her involvement, added another layer to the performance, another diss at Drake. The revolution will be televised. Kendrick flipped the meaning of Gil Scott-Heron's iconic phrase, the revolution will not be televised, by saying, the revolution's about to be televised. You picked the right time with the wrong guy. He suggested the movement is now undeniable, and those in power have underestimated its leaders. The American flag formation during Humble, dancers in red, white, and blue formed the American flag. This powerful visual highlighted the gap between patriotic ideals and the reality of oppression, reinforcing Kendrick's message about marginalized communities. Uncle Sam, Samuel L. Jackson played Uncle Sam, symbolizing the U.S. government in a star-spangled suit. He criticized Kendrick for being too loud, too reckless, too ghetto, telling him to tighten up. This role highlighted how black artists are often pressured to tone down their voices and message. Yeah, these weren't very hidden. These weren't like subtext. I would say these were just text. But yeah, wrong guy. Kendrick confirmed Biden or Buster. Yeah, that's what I think he was saying. He's a big Biden head, just like me. He's a Brandon head. With the flag being broken in half whilst being all black men could also be a testament to how black men are divided at the moment with how many voted for Trump. Not a lot of black men voted for Donald Trump. That's a media. If that was the underlying premise of the argument from Kendrick Lamar, he'd be wrong and you know, deluded by media propaganda. Yeah, maybe he was a Bernard Sanders fan. He's saying that our revolution will be televised, but you got the wrong guy. That's what I think. Yeah, over 80% of black men voted for Kamala. Yeah, I know. I've been a long time critic of this false notion that like one, that black people are supposed to play the role of loyal servants of the Democratic Party unconditionally, and also simultaneously when there's like any sort of marginal changes that happen in terms of voting patterns with black men, they make a massive deal about it when other groups, other demographics in this country go by way wider margins to the Republican Party than black men. It's the tiniest shift. And it's something that I was very annoyed by, especially when Barack Obama came out and was like scolding black men and saying, maybe you guys are misogynistic. And there were chatters in here also telling me once again, this is a black people conversation. Your white ass doesn't understand. Your white ass simply doesn't understand that Barack Obama was having tough talk with black men. Remember when you guys said that? There were plenty of people in here saying that. Just saying. But yeah, as far as sitting my white ass down and listening, political commentator who is white. So I do sit my white ass down quite a bit, but I also do a lot of speaking. Stop acting like chat's a monolith. No, chat is not a monolith. Yeah, put the stream in the bag, big bro. Ben Shapiro's halftime show review. Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying, but I just say this. Good luck. Live in peace. That's all I got for the halftime Yeah, guy with a literal relationship with teenage girls section on Wikipedia didn't like Kendrick Lamar. What a surprise. Ted Nugent was one of them. Yeah, hey, Kendrick Lamar, you suck. Another person who was also obviously under a lot of legal and, you know, additional scrutiny was Matt Gaetz. He also didn't like Kendrick Lamar's performance. This is like Sneeko was another person who was pro Drake and anti Kendrick Lamar after this performance. I think that weirdly enough, this was just a self-report. The halftime show you just watched is clearly the regime's response to Trump's historic gains with black men. Or sorry, Matt Gaetz liked it because he thought, you know, this is pro-Trump and pro-American patriotism and pro-white supremacy. Not understanding that, you know, this was making fun of everyone that does stuff like Drake. Injumentum got the Matt Walsh supercut. Yeah, you never stop fucking complaining. The only people looking forward to this halftime show are the people who refer to their teams by their jersey colors. Lions Vikings game features the most excruciating and effeminate halftime show the NFL's ever produced. That's why I was making a joke. I'm saying like Matt Walsh just wants like someone to play the accordion, you know? Even then he'd complain. He'd be like, this is I'm not going to say the word, but this instrument is most commonly used by travelers. But he wouldn't use that word. He would use a different word for it. I don't like this. Matt Walsh is such a pro-racism kind of guy. He's like on board with European racism, even though Americans don't even know that that's like a bad word. Anyway, he wants a yodeler. Yeah, we want Tom McDonald, please. It's not a DEI for performance, as crazy people have said on Twitter. Like, what is the song had 200 millions on Super Bowl? Yeah, people say chatter. You might understand. I hope you understand, rather. Okay, I hope you understand. When people say DEI, they just mean like black people or women or gay people. They just mean like anyone but a straight white guy. That's it. Literally it. That's it. And now disabled people too is also DEI. That's what they're talking about. It's so obvious that it's just another substitution for insert whatever particular pejorative or slur for marginalized community. That's it. It's for people who are somewhat scared of saying the N-word, finding a new way to say it. That's it. You can try to endlessly pontificate and claim that that is not the case or that there's something more beyond it. I am just pissed I downloaded Tubi. You want to defend disabled people? Go ahead. Defend Fetterman? Okay, dude. Okay, well, that's a thing I won't be doing. All right? Yeah, it's what it is. I've talked about this before. American white supremacy and American bigotry, but specifically anti-black white supremacy, is so advanced because this is a nation built around advancing white supremacy. Okay? So it's very different than like other forms of bigotry that you normally experience or see. You can just point to something and everyone will understand what you're saying. DEI, CRT, woke, all of this stuff is different ways of pointing to the same exact thing, which is, why am I seeing black people? Okay, that's it. They don't have to say the N-word for people to understand exactly what the message is behind their criticism and their complaints. Okay? Cringe take? Why is that a cringe take? It's just the correct take. That's what it is. Thug is another word. Ghetto, urban, that's another one. Yep. But overall, there were a lot of ads, as always, in this long and convoluted process. And let me tell you, okay, the meta this year is AI, as it was last year as well. Very much so. Remember when NFTs were popping and all the Super Bowl ads were NFTs? So many AI helper ads were popping off.
Tom has something for everyone.
Yeah, she sells. You got anything more boutique?
Oui, right this way.
What about something more family friendly?
Maybe a resort with a water park?
Or somewhere less family friendly?
Yep, one Vegas hotel for the bride-to-be.
What if we hate everything?
We have free cancellation. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, booking.com.
You wanna go fishing tomorrow? I got a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Fellas, I accidentally threw a lame party.
Okay, Ted. They're on their way. They're here.
You call this a party?
I do hate that this ad was kind of cool. I thought it was like stupid, but it was kind of fun.
Sack party. Launch. These beers are a metaphor for an invitation.
Is that our leaf blower?
Party at the sack.
You are cordially invited to the end of the cul-de-sac.
This is incredible.
Your mower smokes meat?
Oh, a smoker cuts grass.
Hell yeah.
I spent most of my money on this. New rig?
Fully custom.
Is the top of the hour in here? No, as you know, at the Hasanabi broadcast, this is an ad-free broadcast unless we're looking at ads that played at the Super Bowl. Okay. I thought Bud Light was woke. It's no longer woke, dude. They got Shane Gillis on there. They got Post Malone on there. It's no longer woke. Bud Light is back in. Okay. You can still subscribe if you would like to support the show or send me links. There's no assurance that I will actually watch those links that you send me and use emotes all around the platform. You can subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is still free.
Lights can you fit in that puppy?
As many Bud Lights as it takes.
A lot of Bud Lights.
It's cul-de-sacs popping. Oh, Bill, get off the boat. The HOA's already breathing down my neck.
Thank you, Vil Moragar, for the 10 community gifted subs, and Patty Pegan for the 5 community gifted subs. What the fuck is this? I didn't even see this one. Adrian is online. Thank you for the 10 gifted.
Jeremy is a method actor. What is that? Coming out to his ready. The acting method from the book.
There's a book?
He's preparing. He's doing his research.
I never did no research on nothing. Look where I'm at.
Exactly.
We're big time now.
You ruined it.
Do I ruin it, or do you have a breakfast named after you?
Oh.
Hey, what are you doing in there?
We're doing a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, right?
Right.
I'm just trying to find the character. I think I found a way in.
Emily Giselle, thank you for the 5 gifted. Rand 940, thank you for the 10 gifted.
You're from Boston. I'm from Boston. Duncan is Boston. Boston is Paul Revere. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. The redcoats are coming.
You're an artist, and I know what that's like, but how long is it going to take for the bean method?
I mean, I'll be ready in like 3 hours.
You should have paid for Matt.
I told you that.
Only from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
A little stiff. What, do you got a job in?
Nice, dude. Of course, FanDuel ads, obviously.
I'm doing the FanDuel Kick of Destiny 3 live Super Bowl Sunday. I'll finally be a kicker like I always dreamed. It all comes down to this, folks. That's 3 points to win the Super Bowl.
You'll never be a kicker, Eli. You'll just have to be a quarterback like me and Dad.
I was born to be a kicker, Peyton. You'll see. The FanDuel Kick of Destiny 3.
You were shocked at how many Gamba ads were on? Welcome to modern sports. Every part of modern professional sports is polluted with pro gambling ads. They own every inch of the space. This is the reality now. Okay, good luck. I said this a couple years prior as I was very critical of the cryptocurrency casino that was very prominent on this website, stake.com. At that time, there were a lot of people once Stake was banned off this website. There were a lot of people who were like, well, what about DraftKings? Like, this website is a DraftKings sponsor, which I reminded people at the time that it is virtually impossible to stop moneyed interest from destroying another aspect of entertainment. Yeah. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
3 is my destiny, Peyton. You and I both know this.
Not if I make it first.
FanDuel, Kick of Destiny 3. May the best manning win. Make your free pick now for a share of $10 million in bonus bet.
There's one irony here, I think, or one unlikely ally that I have in this battle, which is Las Vegas. Did you guys know? Las Vegas actually experienced way less revenue than they were projecting this Super Bowl weekend. Part of that, I think, is a direct consequence of how easy it is to gamble. You no longer have to go to Las Vegas to gamble because everyone can do it from their phones. And I think that is part of the reason why Las Vegas actually generated way less revenues this year from the Super Bowl. And I think that's going to keep increasing as well. Like, that problem is going to become even a larger issue. Are you anti-gambling, period? I am not anti-gambling, period. I think that it's silly to be anti-vice in general. Vices are fun. I gamble. I think that it should be heavily regulated and incredibly restricted. That is my attitude attitude about gambling in general, or many of the vices that we are talking about. Big gambler, okay. MGM owns a huge app, though. Wynn is friends with Trump, though. I wonder if he'll try to push for laws. I think that instead of pushing for laws, they will also look for alternative streams of revenue by making their own apps. I think initially they tried to get ahead of it and push for moderation, push for restriction, push for regulation on online casinos and things of that nature. But of course, it was impossible. And there were different methods like fantasy football style gambling. And now it is just so pervasive and it's all over the place. Hassan, let me chase your parlay. Oh, no, I don't do sports betting in general. I don't know enough about sports to do sports betting. XQC got my ex-boyfriend addicted to gambling. He lost almost all his money. Yeah, well, I'll have you know 90% of gamblers quit right before they win big.
It's FanDuel, America's #1 sports.
Legalized gambling has destroyed Zoomer minds. We are starting to see peer support programs around recovering youth gambling addiction. Yeah, it's really bad.
Why do I bedazzle my Frank's Red Hot? Because I put that on everything. And this glamorous bottle, plus Frank's Red Hot for life, can be yours. Show me how you're kicking things up a notch with Frank's Red Hot for the big game. It could be any food. Buffalo chicken dip, wings, waffles, ice cream, caviar, chips, pink chips. Loves it. And that's not just hot, that's red hot. So what are you waiting for? This bottle has your name on it. Well, if your name is Frank or Red Hot.
Baby, let's cruise away from here.
Some more nostalgia baiting.
Hey, what happened to Fast Life?
Not today.
What? Are y'all kidding me?
I can't believe they let us back in this place.
Why?
Hello?
Nobody remembers that.
Something wrong?
Not doing it.
No good?
Nothing.
Well, we can't have that.
Yeah.
I guess this is also nostalgia baiting, but for a different demographic. If the previous is nostalgia baiting for like millennials, this is nostalgia baiting for elder millennials and Gen Xers. Boomer nostalgia baiting.
What's happening? Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, boy.
So good. Oh, it's just.
Oh.
Oh.
This one's real.
Yes.
Lunch and a show.
Is this a Cats? It looks like Cats.
How about that?
And that is a sandwich. I'll have what she's having.
I'm competing with a condiment.
We've made contact with a new alien species, and apparently they're foodies.
Oh. It's from When Harry Met Sally? No, dude. I'm talking about the diner that they're at. It's a Jewish deli. It's Cats in New York. It's a famous delicatessen. They actually have incredible cuts. Anyway.
Food is the worst.
Mr. Ramsey, we'll need you to cook for them. You'll have access to everything the Area 51 tests.
I know it's from When Harry Met Sally. Oh my God. Boomers, calm down. I get the reference.
Kitchen has to offer, including top secret alien cooking technology.
Wait, that's just a Hexlad pan. I've got these at home.
Unfortunately, it was leaked 8 years ago. The pan was developed using material from an alien spacecraft.
What?
Extremely durable, but low friction. Created to deal with a thick egg-like atmosphere.
You're saying...
Low-key, we got sponsored for Fearan by Gordo's Hexclad pan company, and I literally use them still. Like, it's hashtag not an ad in this moment, even though it was technically a hashtag ad.
The pan I use to fry my bacon is made out of flying saucers.
We don't have time for a science lesson, Mr. Ramsey. The alien ambassadors already...
Those pans are ass? I don't think so. I mean, I use mine, and it's been pretty freaking durable.
Here.
Whoa.
Not her, him.
Hey, what's up, dude?
You're an alien?
All famous people are aliens.
I'm not.
I meant like really famous people.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. Huh?
All right, Little Caesar's Crazy Puffs. Whoa!
Is this little Becky?
Birthday cake comes in. It is so cute. My dad's eating Crazy Puffs again. Don't ask.
Whoa. Have you tried the new bacon ones?
There are bacon ones?
Pizza.
What did you make, little Walters?
Excuse me, would you consider playing us?
For the Ultras.
Oh, we're
kind of at a high level.
Fascinating.
You guys sure you want this? Please serve.
My goat. It's always fun seeing Willem Dafoe and things, though. That is my goat.
That was fun. Playing for those ultras.
They got ultras.
Whip it real hard. Whip it real hard.
You know we're professional athletes, right?
What sport?
I smell ultra.
Player for an ultra.
So when I went to sleep, my jewels were here. And when I woke up, gone. The night's morning, and I have an espresso coffee. Unforgettable. My jewels.
I must confiscate the evidence.
Don't forget to recycle.
Nespresso. What else?
We're out of Pringles.
Wow. Everybody loves Nespresso. I'm surprised that they're not showing all the... Where are the AI ones with Matthew McConaughey? All right. Some of the ads that I wanted to show, aside from this stuff, was this was lame as hell.
Complete protein to help build strong.
Hold on.
Worth $6.2 million.
This was another incredibly lame ad, which is the Meta glasses, Ray-Ban glasses ad.
Hey, Meta, what is this artwork?
Comedian by Mauricio Catalan, worth $6.2 million.
What? That's a $6.2 million banana.
Are you kidding?
We need to find you another banana.
Gentlemen, what a place you have.
Who eats art?
Think you're supposed to say, hey, Meta.
Like, hey, Meta, who eats art? And then Meta would say,
I do feel like the creative writing on this stuff has fallen off a cliff. I'm not even kidding. Like, in the last 10 years, because like this is still supposed to be like some kind of creative expression, okay? And they have dropped off of a cliff, dude. I don't know who's scripting this stuff, but they're just basically slamming celebrities, which has always been the case for a lot of Super Bowl ads. But they're slamming celebrities into it, and it's not even remotely entertaining, creative, or funny. It's just like, oh yeah, look, that's famous person you know. It's a famous person you know. Insert nostalgic moment that you remember. Like, it is crazy. It's probably stupid to criticize the writing, the creative writing of an ad, but you know, I feel like this is basically the same as every other sector, every other thing that you consume. Even the creative writing in the ad space is also lame. All this is doing is like, look at all these famous people. Like, look at this joke at the end of it. Look,
Chris Pratt.
Hey, Meta, call my lawyer.
Wow. Look at all the things you can do with your Ray-Ban Meta.
Ever since Reese's came out with their new chocolate lava big cup with a delicious layer of chocolate lava.
At least this one tried, you know what I mean? The lava one.
People visiting the lava flows have been pretty confused.
That stuff looks delicious. I want to eat lava.
It looks so good.
Just a little taste.
Don't eat lava. Eat chocolate lava.
Get in my mouth, lava. Don't eat lava. Eat ooey gooey chocolate lava.
It's lava time, baby!
No! Don't eat lava. Eat new Reese's chocolate lava big cups.
Dad? We have something to tell you. You have a twin brother we never told you about.
I'm sorry.
So? What's his name?
Other David.
You called him Other David. If there's two Davids, one has to be Other David. Where is he?
Left him in America.
Are you...
Beckham. Dave Beckham.
No way.
Hey, what'd you say your name was?
David.
Try one of these. That is the best buffalo wing in the county.
You eat buffalo?
No, it's just chicken. It was invented in Buffalo, the city.
So it's not buffalo.
Bro, it's not for you, man. Holy shit, the hating is crazy. Rewatch this after extensive white matter atrophy and wide-ranging brain damage across your frontal lobe, and then you'll get it. This one is all right, I guess, as far as ads goes.
You all right, man?
Like, there's at least like a reveal. Get it? Because Matt Damon is famous, but in this ad, he's not.
Still got it?
Even though at the end he will reference himself.
Come on, guys. Sorry, it's a thing I do.
You drink Stella?
I have taste, David.
Something, I have to tell you.
My brother is a famous soccer player?
Yeah.
So how famous are you? Like Matt Damon famous?
Maybe Ben Affleck famous.
That's a shame.
This year, Taco Bell is making fans the stars of their big.
This one, are you getting paid to rewatch ads? Yes, dude, I'm getting paid. Guys, let's review ads. I mean, ads are reflective of where broader culture is. This ad was kind of funny because it had like at least Tim Robinson in it, and it had like a weird payoff. It was weird. But the reason why I wanted to look at the ads was because, one, there was one that was controversial. Okay? Controversial one being the Nike ad. We're going to be talking about that. And also a lot of AI ads as well. But here.
It has been a banner year for the National Football League. Or should I call it the National Football League? From the very beginning.
I'm skipping the Uber Eats one. This isn't even the one I was looking for. Hold on. Yeah, Greta Gerwig doing an Uber Eats ad is crazy. I don't like raw dogging American culture without Hasanabi. American culture sucks, full stop. Yeah, the reality of the matter is, if American culture sucks, that means your culture is going to suck in a couple of years. You understand that, right? Couple things that I wanted to talk about with respect to the ads. Obviously, there's the Hims ad is about the GLP-1 agonists that they're selling on Hims.
Is America's deadliest epidemic.
This is America.
74% of us are overweight, and obesity leads to 500,000 deaths each year.
Why, you just have to stop eating, Jimmy.
This is America.
Something's broken. It's not our bodies. It's the system. Welcome to Weight Loss in America.
Like and subscribe.
A $160 billion industry that feeds on our failure. Yeah. There are medications that work, but they're priced for profits, not patients.
This is America.
This system wasn't built to help us. It was built to keep us sick and stuck. But not anymore. Hims and Hers offers life-changing weight loss medications. They're affordable, doctor-trusted, and formulated in the USA. You get a treatment plan designed by a doctor to fit your body, goals, and lifestyle.
Yeah, the non-FDA approved Ozempic ad. I had to stop watching Hulu because I received so many Ozempic ads. It made me genuinely insecure. Look, I'm a fan of Ozempic. I think it's a miracle, and I like it, and I am in support of it. Sorry if you get mad at that. It is what it is. I think the major problem with Ozempic and Ozempic style drugs is that it is not necessarily as readily available and as widespread. Ozempic sucks. Are totally not suspicious. Take our totally not suspicious drug instead. Yeah, that's the problem. Is that because it's not like readily available, and there's a lot of significant limitations to its mass production. I do think that there are a lot of alternatives. There are a lot of alternatives in the market that avoids like FDA scrutiny, which I think is crazy. Okay. Recent events have led me to believe Ozempic causes brain degradation. Are you sponsored by Ozempic like NMP lol? No, it's just not supposed to be imaginably expensive. That's the problem that I have with the drug. That is my issue with Ozempic style drugs, is that people are resorting to Temu off-brand Ozempic. And that, I think, also says a lot about where we are. That also, I think, is indicative of where America is in general. That, like, you got this drug that a lot of Americans could rely on, could need. It's not a secret that obesity is a massive problem and is built into the profit motives of numerous different sectors. But because it's like, because it's a relatively, why are you pro Ozempic? What do you mean? I'm pro medicine in general. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this, but I like medicine. I think it's a good thing. Okay. Do I think that sometimes it's overprescribed or prescribed for more in the place of more comprehensive solutions? Absolutely. Especially when it comes to, muscle pain and things of that nature. Having said that, I am definitely pro medication, pro medicine in general. And obviously one of the biggest problems that Americans face is obesity. So a drug that works to combat obesity is a good thing. The only problem there, however, is that there are side effects to it. And as there are side effects to all drugs, the side effects overall are, the potential for stomach paralysis, like gastric paralysis, which is definitely very scary. And people say thyroid issues as well. It's not a long-term solution, though. It's a Band-Aid. Yes, you just have to take it forever. Like, that's it. And when you get off of it, you will bounce back and eat way more than before. But I don't, how would I ever take issue with a fucking, technically it's like a miracle drug. How would I take issue with a drug that's been incredibly helpful in preserving people's life expectancy, extending people's life expectancy in a country that is in the throes of serious issues with obesity. This conversation annoys me because the loudest opponents of these drugs also fucking hate fat people. Make up your mind's law. Also, none of your damn business, people. Like any other medication. Yeah. I'm not entirely familiar with like the ways in which you trail off of Ozempic and still maintain your weight. Okay. But overall, I think one of the major issues with Ozempic in general is its price point. Like there are additional complications that come with the consumption of this drug as there is with every other drug. Having said that, I think the benefits are tremendous. I'm personally on GLP-1, and you're right, it's helped me lose over 50 pounds over the better part of the past year. The only issue is that it's not covered by my insurance and we have to pay. Yeah, exactly. The biggest problem with any kind of like GLP-1 drug is that it is so goddamn expensive. Change other habits. Yes, as someone who has had a lifelong struggle with addiction of every sort, including with food, and someone who was obese for most of his life, someone who comes from an entire family, someone whose entire family is obese, like I think Ozempic is it's an awesome drug. I will never be against it, okay? Unless there was like significant healthcare complications, I would not, I won't make fun of people taking it. I won't, I have family members on it. I understand that its major problem is currently that it's not readily available and it's very expensive. It's a tool to make you less hungry. If you use it to lose a lot of weight easier and make efforts to change your lifestyle, it's awesome. Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to do the second part. Isn't it mainly prescribed for people with diabetes? It was initially, yes, but now it is being considered for weight loss, understandably so, because it curbs your appetite significantly. But now there's additional research that suggests that it's not actually technically curbing your appetite. It's actually directly tackling the part of your brain that corresponds to addictive behavior. So I don't know. I don't know how valid that is, but yeah, it curbs your impulsions, including alcohol, sex, etc., is what I've heard as well. But I mean, obesity is a major issue. Obesity is a major problem that causes additional health complications. So tackling obesity like this is you're not gonna hear a lot of criticisms from me on that front. Although I am still worried about potential side effects. I'm a health researcher who helped ensure semaglutide and liraglutide were safe for human consumption. I'm honestly just disheartened that it's not as accessible for the people who need it the most. Yeah. A Cunning Pigeon, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. There is evidence that it improves mortality rates in patients with heart. Also owned by a Palestinian guy who I think like lost a decent amount when he came out in support of Palestine, if I'm not mistaken. So shouts out to Hims in general. I use Hims. There's a free ad for you for my hair. No thems? Yeah. Wish they had TRT one day. Oh, that'd be sick. Every aspect of American culture, especially for those who come from a poorer background, is designed to make you obese. Any kind of medicine that helps combat that is not the worst thing, The issue here is that like with finasteride and minoxidil, you can get it for cheap from Hims because they're generics. So they're still very much, it's a drug that has been produced 1 million times over. It is no longer patent protected. So obviously on that front, it's definitely a lot safer to consume. But on this issue, it is a little, I feel like it's a little sketch. I don't know the exact details of what kind of, what kind of regulation and what kind of restrictions come with like alternative Ozempic, considering that Ozempic is so goddamn costly. My friend's credit listening to you talk about your hair care as a turning point for him not feeling ashamed to take hair loss supplements or talk about that. It helped his confidence a lot. I just please watch this, Hassan. Dog, you subscribe to send me a LinkedIn link? Are you insane? I will never, dude, listen, while there's a hype train going on, okay, let me remind you, you can subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, okay? But if you send me a LinkedIn link, I promise you I will not click it, okay? If you send me a Facebook link, I promise you I will not click it. Those are two links that I'm definitely never going to click, okay? You might as well send me a phishing link, and I'd be more interested in clicking on that than a Facebook link or a LinkedIn link, okay? But yes, for $6 or for free, you can subscribe during this hype train. You can also get gifted a sub, and this will allow you to send me links if you would like. Legendary first-time chatter, though, yeah. All right, someone send me the ad for the
capitalism is
the standing up against hate. Snoop Dogg did a standing up against hate ad, or standing together ad, I think. That was one thing I wanted to talk about. The other one, obviously, is the Nike commercial that got a lot of people upset. Snoop Dogg and also Google boobs. Trust me. No, I'm good, man. Thanks.
I hate you because we're from different neighborhoods.
So this ad is so funny because I feel like it's one of the least effective ads of all time. Okay? Not only is it corny, but it doesn't even get across the initial message that it wants to. And it also has people that have aligned with Donald Trump. I don't know if actually Tom Brady is pro-Trump or not. I wouldn't be shocked if he is. Like, anyway, this is the What's Up With Hate ad that was designed for the Super Bowl 30-second slot. Now, the actual ad is supposed to be about anti-Semitism. The group itself is designed around combating anti-Semitism.
I hate you because we're from different neighborhoods.
I hate you because you look different.
I hate you because I don't understand you.
I hate you because people I know hate you.
I hate you because I think you hate me.
Because I need someone to blame.
Because you talk different.
Because you act different.
Because you're just different.
This ad, in and of itself, I think, is from a different era. Like, this would have went hard for resistance liberals in, like, 2017. Maybe if it wasn't Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady, okay? But it's very much, it's giving Kendall Jenner Pepsi, okay? I find it interesting. I find it funny. It's 2017 is crazy. This is 90s coded, or maybe that too. Snoop Dogg isn't MAGA. He'll just do anything for $50,000. Fair. The reasons for hate are as stupid as they sound.
Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
Me too.
Yeah, this self-referential at the end. Oh, I hate that things have gotten so bad we have to do a commercial about it. Hashtag stand up to all hate, paid for by the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. Now, what's interesting about this is that, you know, my mom is a liberal, okay? My mom is super libbed up, and she didn't understand what this ad was about, so I had to explain it to her. Where the ad is supposed to be about combating the rise of anti-Semitism for the progressives out there who, in the eyes of the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism, are turning a blind eye. Even though they're against all forms of bigotry, it seems like they're not against anti-Semitism. That's like what the ad is supposed to be referencing. But instead of directly saying that, or instead of directly mentioning anti-Semitism, they're saying like, well, there's a lot of anti-Semitism out there. Can you please also, you know, combat anti-Semitism? So that's what the ad is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like, stand up to all hate, guys, including anti-Semitism. And not just all the other forms of hate. But of course, it's ironic on multiple different fronts, considering that these are both like pro-Trump celebrities who are super famous. And also, I think like a lot of the message itself is just like so ridiculous to be like, I hate you because of this reason or that reason. And it doesn't actually critically examine the ways in which anti-Semitism or any kind of hatred and bigotry manifests in American society. It's also coming at a time when Donald Trump is the president and his fan base have basically gone above and beyond. But last but not least, something that I also pointed to was the fact that there was another ad that played in between many of these other ads on the Super Bowl. And that was Kanye West. who, as you guys know, as of yesterday, is officially off Twitter. Yeah. Kanye West bought this ad to go to Yeezy.com where he's literally selling Adolf Hitler merchandise.
Guys, I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to Yeezy.com.
Yeah, and if you do actually end up going to Yeezy.com, the first shirt that comes up when you click on it is literally a swastika t-shirt that is titled Heil Hitler 01. So that's what's insane about it, because on the one hand, they got like a weak attempt at combating and standing up against all hate, including anti-Semitism. And then the other ad that you watch after that is literally just a ad to go and purchase an Adolf Hitler t-shirt, a swastika t-shirt, which is insane. Kanye West has officially also deactivated his Twitter account after blasting a lot of pornography on the timeline, including some old choice Lana Rhoades videos as well. Once again, obviously, Norm Finkelstein was correct. He said that gooning is fascism. Turns out he was right in more ways than one. Gooning does lead to fascism, or fascism does lead to gooning, or vice versa. I don't know. He didn't actually put the shirt on a store, but he does have the WLM one. What are you talking about? I just went to Yeezy.com. That is the only shirt that is available on Yeezy.com. So that's what Kanye West is doing. Kanye West is busy doing that stuff. Here's Norm Finkelstein on gooning.
Expression, I don't know if they coined it or whether it's a commonplace in your generation. The expression is gooning, G-O-O-N-I-N-G.
Grooming or gooning?
Gooning, G-O-O-N-I-N-G. It means basically being transfixed with porn, video porn, for like 24, 48 hours straight. If straight's the right word there. And it struck me, now I know this is going to sound harsh, but it struck me that even though this crowd considered itself bohemian, and even though this crowd considered itself, what would you say, anti-establishment, it struck me this was exactly the crowd that would go over to fascism.
Yeah. Gooning is an indication of one's predisposition towards reactionary thought. Dare I say fascist thought. So yeah. And he was right once again, as events that have unfolded in Gaza over the past 16 months has vindicated his entire body of work. Events that are unfolding over the past week and a half with Kanye West going on a tear, going absolutely nutty mode on the timeline about how his adoration for Adolf Hitler has ended up with Kanye West posting a whole bunch of porn and then inevitably shutting off his Twitter account. Katie Halper had Norm and a founder of Identity Politics, Barbara Smith, and walked some of his positions back, by the way. Is this satire? Yes, I don't think gooning is an indication that you are fascist, okay? God damn, I didn't realize so many people would be actually hurt by this. However, as I've stated in the past, I think that there are some people who don't respond to porn positively and can't consume it in moderation and actually do lose their minds. It feels like they just completely lose themselves with easy access, readily consumable porn. While I have always been someone who doesn't have any issues with porn, I do see that there are some people, like maybe Kanye West and some others, who probably should wean off of porn to the best of their ability. Ye is a fake gooner. His consumption is too vanilla for gooner. Yeah. Keep thinking about it. What is this? When Daft Punk worked with Kanye, he watched so much pornography in the studio that it made one of the dudes in Daft Punk start hallucinating. Can you even imagine to begin your wrap your mind around what kind of pervert you have to be to traumatize a French DJ? It's so crazy how 5 years ago this would have just been a corny t-shirt that meant big ego with a fragile heart. Now it just means you're a Hitler-loving pedophile. Yeah, making a French DJ hallucinate due to the unlimited amounts of pornography that you're blasting on their into their faces, into their brain, into their collective consciousness is crazy. Yeah. So, porn is just entertainment. It's just like saying you lost your mind and addicted to watching movies. Yeah. But if there was someone who was losing their minds and getting addicted to watching movies, I'd be like, yeah, you should probably stop watching movies. That's my point. Okay? I don't understand it, but I've seen far too many people who lose their minds. They get more annoying as a consequence of turning nofap anyway, which is also weird. There's no salvaging these people. Anyway, let's continue. Need an Ozempic for movies and porn now. Yeah. You're addicted to politics? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, well, it's nothing specific to porn. It's a symptom of a larger psychological dysfunction. I agree. Anyway, where were we? So yeah, Kanye West went on the timeline and blasted a whole bunch of pornography and then basically came to a crashing halt and is no longer going to be on Twitter for, until he decides he wants attention again, I suspect. Bianca Censori? Is this actually Bianca Censori's real Twitter account? What the hell? Lord, I lift up my husband to you with love and concern. Soften his heart, guide his words, and fill him with wisdom and kindness. Protect him from trouble. I don't know if this is real or not. Lead him towards understanding and respect for all people. Despite our differences, I love him unconditionally. Strengthen our bond and help me be the source of patience and encouragement. I trust in your grace. God bless Israel and all the good Jewish people. Amen. I don't know if this is a real account or not. Oh, Hollywood Reporter mentions that Bianca Censori's rep denies cry for help after husband Kanye West's hate-filled tirade. The Australian model's rep said the post was uploaded to an X account that does not belong to Ye's wife. Yeah, there you go. Read the bio, not our profile. God bless women's bottomless standards, because otherwise I would never get laid. What did this person say? Be better. This is fake news. Wait, what? Fake news, fake news, fake news. You are spreading fake news. That is not true. Stop being fake, spreading fake news. What? Sexual conservatism is fascist light. We need art, critical analysis of porn desperately. Wait, you do realize that I looked at it for 1 second, read the tweet, and immediately assumed that it was not a real account. What is the issue? People get mad even if I'm critical of fake news. Are you all right, chatter? Porn inoculates white supremacist tropes. Porn is extraordinarily white supremacist. Social media is a serious fascism pipeline. Please watch his take. Please watch his take on the halftime show. Kanye West has an excellent take on the halftime show. Oh my God. Are you all right, chatter? I don't think you're all right. Bell bottoms were back 4 years ago. Bell bottoms are out. His pants are super whack, man. I don't like jovial accusations of pedophilia. I think progressives have been getting way too insensitive on Twitter and Reddit recently. It feels like a profound rightward shift. Wait, you're pro Kanye, but also simultaneously thinking that progressives are the ones that have seen exhibited a right-wing shift? How does that work? How can you, in this day and age, say that Kanye has a profound on anything, really? Well, simultaneously talking about how progressives are the ones that are becoming profoundly right-wing. Oh, Kanye left. This is a new type of guy. I don't even understand what's happening here. New type of person unlocked. We got it all at the Hasanabi broadcast, baby. We got it all. Anyway, a new type of guy era. We're going to see new levels of brain rot be a thing this year. I agree. We're already seeing it. The podcast comedians stay having shit opinions to appeal. Boring halftime show, says Theo Vaughn. Yeah, I don't think it was a boring halftime show. But anyway, all right, let's get to this one other ad that people were upset about.
You can't be demanding. You can't be relentless. You can't put yourself first. So, put yourself first. You can't be confident. So be confident. You can't challenge. So challenge. You can't dominate. So dominate. You can't flex. So flex. You can't fill a stadium, so fill that stadium. You can't be emotional, so be emotional. You can't take credit. You can't speak up. You can't be so ambitious. You can't break records. You can't have any fun. You can't make demands. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win.
Why were people mad at this ad? It wasn't this ad that people were mad at, though. I think people were mad at this ad, but they were also mad at like the women beating men one, I think.
So win.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like, because it's political like my video. Yeah, it's just like dominant female athletes. The NFL football flag football ad, that was the one that everyone was mad at. Yeah, I think they were mad at this one too. But I mean, it's you know, how is this frustrating? Nike's been making ads like this in perpetuity. This was the one that pissed off people.
Jaworski, you're on thin ice, mister.
Hey, Principal P.
Stop kicking your principal. Everybody's on thin ice.
What's this? A Dorkosaurus Rex?
Come on, Chad. I don't want any trouble.
Leave him alone. I'll kick your butt, Chad.
Hey, Chad. Check out the new girl.
Ew, what is she wearing?
Girls don't play football.
They do where I'm from.
Get a load of this one. Think fast.
You think fast. Right in the Jimmy Johnson.
This ain't over.
We just getting started, Chad.
Let's go, let's go. Come on. There you go. Yeah.
Ooh, little girl bad.
Enough. Let's settle this once and for all. Your best guy?
Girl.
Whatever. Versus our best guy. The Brad.
Not the Brad.
I'm Brad.
I can read.
Yo, you got folded up, Brad.
Get her!
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
That was sick. I thought it was also kind of funny because it was like the Brad archetype is so awesome. Back in the day when they used to make, you know, TV shows like this or movies like this, there was always like a dude who's very clearly 38 years old and he's supposed to be a high school senior. Yeah. And it's just like, no, dude, that man is 30. That man is balding. You know what I mean? Let's make girls flag football a varsity sport in all 50 states. So yeah, this is an initiative from the NFL to make flag football for the girlies. And people were upset about this as well. But I don't understand why you're upset about this. Like, who cares? What? I was balding at 22. You're an evil man. It's a flag football promotion for the 2028 Olympics. Would you play flag football, or is it not your thing? I mean, it's not really my thing, but didn't MAGA Republicans really care about girls' sports? Yeah, surprise, surprise. They actually don't care about women's sports at all. They hate women. They just wanted to use women's sports as a more permissible way to attack trans people. That's it. They wanted to create a permission structure to shit on trans people, as I've maintained for quite some time now. All right. Let's get to some other news now. All right. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that has taken place. Apparently, one last thing from the Super Bowl, of course, is that Trump trolled Taylor Swift and mocked her for being booed at the Super Bowl. America is moving on. Liberalism is lost. Travis Kelce style liberalism is over, ladies and gentlemen. No more vaccines. Travis Kelce could not get the vaccine boost as Donald Trump is back in power. So obviously, Taylor Swift is on the downtrend, and so is Travis Kelce, and so are vaccines. And apparently, Taylor Swift was shown on the Jumbotron at the Super Bowl, and people were booing her. Let's take a look. Donald Trump tweeted out, "The only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving." When does the Houthi propaganda start? Don't worry, we'll get to doing some pro-Houthi propaganda in a little bit, okay? I love that is your subtle when does the Houthi propaganda start? I've heard this is the #1 spot for Houthi propaganda. Got him. Now, what's interesting about this also is that Donald Trump is pro Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, he's pro Chiefs. So why is he dookie on the Chiefs here? President reignited the bitter feud after making an early exit as the Kansas City Chiefs crumbled against the Philadelphia Eagles. Trump shared videos of Swift being heckled alongside this one of him receiving huge applause. Swift and Trump have a history of bad blood, with the president last year declaring, "I hate Taylor Swift" on social media after she endorsed Harris. So I don't know if this is directly a consequence of Taylor Swift. It could literally be. So Taylor Swift getting booed is a combination of different things. One, because there's a lot of like football gatekeepers out there who are like, "Oh, Taylor Swift brought a bunch of chicks to like this sport. I hate them." Then there's also the Eagles fans that will boo anyone and everyone that they've decided is against the Eagles. And Taylor Swift obviously dating Travis Kelce means that she's a beacon of anti-Eagle fandom, and therefore they're going to boo everyone. They would boo Donald Trump too. Eagles fans don't like Donald Trump either because Donald Trump is pro Kansas City Chiefs. And as a matter of fact, took photos with, wished the Kansas City Chiefs wanted them to win, predicted that they would win. So this defeat was a defeat for Donald Trump as well. He also took a photo with the Mahomes family as well, as you can see here. So the reality of the matter is she's literally a lifelong Eagles fan, though. Oh, Taylor Swift is? I didn't know that. You know, why are we not put some terrorist propaganda? Dude, I love that the people that get primed to become haters are so fucking stupid that like they can't even do good enough critique. Where they like this guy got so horny he couldn't even write like a fully fleshed out thought. He was just like, boy, why not put the terror propaganda? Like, sick, man. You got me. It's awesome. I heard this is place for terror propaganda. Very nice. I really hated during the election when people kept saying that Taylor could get her fans to vote for Kamala. Like, those are white women. At least 50% of them voted for Trump if they voted at all. Oh, yeah. No, more than 50%. But here it is. That chatter has been falling for almost 3 years and then said that. Yeah, we activated the sleeper cells. Asmongold fans. But yeah, Donald Trump is the reason why the Chiefs lost, I think, and the Eagles actually destroyed them. I will continue saying that over and over again. Okay? What is this? Is this Lib Cope? Trump at the Super Bowl was soundly booed and hissed, heard clearly international coverage and commented on in multiple countries. US TV networks overlaid canned cheers instead. Oh my God, that's amazing. Liberals are so funny. Donald Trump is literally more popular than at any other point in his career, in his tenure. Okay? That's wild. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if many football fans were cheering for Donald Trump. Okay? I'm getting tons of fake booing clips on TikTok. It's gross. I mean, who cares? Who cares? Not according to recent Pew polling. No, he has like 53% approval rating. What are you talking about? Interesting numbers in the new CBS poll. Trump is up 10 plus in approval with voters under 30. A stadium full of millionaires. Wake up, everybody. There are people in this country that are sick and tired of the incompetence of the government. So even if Trump is doing bad things, right? Like things that will inevitably lead to bad results for the broader electorate, they still see this as like, well, at least he's doing something. People don't have the capacity to look at these actions and analyze it as a bad thing. And especially when you don't have any counter messaging, and that the party that is supposed to be the counterbalance to Donald Trump's actions are incredibly unpopular and are not really doing anything, seemingly, okay? Especially on the heels of a decrepit carcass leading the momentum, leading the Democratic Party, okay? Yes, a lot of people just go, oh, well, he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something, and I like it. That's it, okay? People have a lot of anger and resentment towards gridlock. They hate it so much. No, it's just that America's naturally right-wing. That's ridiculous, okay? No country is just naturally right-wing. Please. When you say decrepit carcass, do you mean Biden or Schumer? I mean, all. Yes. My answer to that question is yes. I need you to understand that. Okay? This is not a reaction. This is not a reaction to like Donald Trump doing things that he promised that we really like. It's more so a reaction to Donald Trump doing things in general and also consistently communicating that he's doing things. This is Cope. Americans have only received mass deportations from Trump's promises, and his approval rating is going up. They're naturally right-wing. Oh, I don't know. I really don't think our political positions are as popular as you think they are. Heard this was the place for leftist woke pedophilia and massive disappointment. What? Heard this was the place for woke leftist baby murders. So far, I am very underwhelmed. What is going on here, man? What is happening? Okay, number one, there is no such thing as like a naturally reactionary disposition that would require you to just completely cast aside any sort of materialist analysis. That would require you to assume, that would require you to say that like these people are unsavable, unsalvageable. Americans need to be left in the dust. They are just evil. It is inherently liberal ways of thinking, good, bad dynamics, things of that nature. Okay. It is very stupid. It is not correct. No one is like intrinsically good or intrinsically bad. Okay. People do bad things. People do good things. But they are motivated by their social conditioning and motivated by their material realities. Okay? Assuming an incredibly nihilistic position like this will lead you astray. Okay? You will find yourself in the throes of reactionary sentiment if this is something that you personally believe. That's number one. Number two, time and time again, I have shown you that Americans are actually historically in favor of immigration for obvious reasons. This is a nation comprised entirely of immigrants with the exception of Native Americans. Everyone that lives here on U.S. soil now that is a natural-born U.S. citizen actually can trace their lineage to a ancestor that was not on this continent with the exception of Native Americans, whether it be by way of chattel slavery and the forcible extraction of men and women from African soil, okay, or whether it be the massive influx of migration patterns, okay, that have basically designed this country, okay? That's it. Go far back enough, with the exception of Native Americans, every single person, okay, every single person currently living inside of the United States of America has an ancestor that is not from the United States of America, okay? So it's idiotic. And of course, the American opinions reflect that reality. That is precisely the reason why I kept maintaining the position over and over again that if you scratch the surface of all of the information that shows, 60% of Americans want mass deportations or whatever, if you actually read after that initial point, almost all of these studies show that Americans, when given two different positions, will always take the more pro-migration position. When faced with two choices, mass deportation and mass amnesty, Americans overwhelmingly and consistently have chosen mass amnesty. The issue, however, is that there is no counterbalance to the anti-immigration position from the Republican Party. That is the problem, okay? That is the major problem. That is the issue here. It is that Democrats and the media have completely dropped the ball, and that the only kind of narrative you heard for the past 4 years about migration was negative. Okay? It is born out of lies. It is born out of abject lies. The idea that undocumented migrants are actually causing a lot of crimes or anything like that. Okay? And yet, if lies are the only thing that you hear and there is no counterbalance, no actual counter to this misinformation from a competent party that is supposed to be addressing these lies and combating them by saying the truth, then yes, people are inevitably going to believe that. Okay? That's it. Democrats caving and capitulating to the Republican lies surrounding immigration and the dangers of immigration is directly responsible for Americans assuming that every single person is just like an abhorrent, morally repugnant monster that just wants every migrant to be killed. Okay? That's it. Are we pretending like Dems are in support of this, like Biden and Obama didn't exist? What do you mean? No, I'm currently explaining to you how the Democrats' incompetence on this issue and caving and capitulating to the right-wing sentiment that undocumented migrants are responsible for a larger share of crimes than they actually are is quite literally the reason why Americans are left to believe that immigrants are a negative, a net negative to this country when it's, the exact opposite. When you have no leadership and no counterbalance to growing fascism, yes, Americans are going to start assuming that they are. Americans are going to look at this and go, "This is it. This is who we are. This is what we like." Have you not been to New York? What do you mean? Affects economy for 10 years negatively? That is also profoundly untrue. Anyway, so having said that, this is what happens when there is no alternatives, seemingly no alternatives to what the Republicans are pushing for when they're the only game in town. Okay? But do not let this delude you. Do not let this push you into this misguided position that Americans are irredeemable monsters in general. Okay? Most people don't even think about the immediate impact of the legislation that they're pushing for. Okay? There is perhaps no greater evidence of this than what happened with abortion. Many people who were pro restricting abortion realized that once it became the reality, maybe it wasn't the best possible outcome. The idea that all Americans are making coherent political decisions is idiotic, okay? It's just as idiotic as coming into the chat and saying, why does Hassan like terrorists like this guy just did, only to get banned quickly? I like that back in the day when he was a fan, he actually spelled my name correctly, but now that I'm a pro-terrorist guy in his eyes, it's now with 2 S's. I'm going to unban this guy. Anyway, you say left-wing policies are so popular. However, when Americans find out it's associated with the left wing, they freak out. This is why Bernie couldn't even win the primary and gain enough support among liberals. Twice, by the way, people associated him with far-left commie socialists, regardless of if he is or not. Yes, you're right. That's why Bernie Sanders, who is an open socialist for his entire career, has been the most popular, singularly most popular politician in this country in perpetuity. You're right. And that is precisely the reason why he was unable to come out of the Democratic Party's primaries, a process that is basically designed to ensure that whichever the party's candidate actually is the one that they go with in the future. Okay? Something that they've defended, the DNC has actively defended in the courts, that there is no real Democratic primary that takes place and that they could simply choose whoever they want. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you recall, but in the last primary structure, there was no real opponents for a literal carcass. And the ways in which they removed that literal carcass from the top of the ticket was also done behind closed doors, which the Democratic Party has every right to do so, mind you. Whether you like it or not doesn't change that reality. It is funny, though, that you come in here with this approach when it is obviously wrong. You don't like Israel, end of story. Wait, what? Anyway, yeah, Elon Musk is leading a group of investors to offer to buy OpenAI, which is terrifying. But let's get back to this. President Trump signs proclamation regarding Gulf of America Day. Another insanely idiotic, like just pure aesthetic thing that Trump is doing.
Now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Signed a secretarial order from
standing next to my goat. Bergamaniacs rise up. Bergam taking an active role in this administration is something that only I am excited about. Aren't you one of those college kids? You are brainwashed. I can't trust anything you say. He smiled. Please. There's enough people who are coming in here with idiotic takes. You don't have to LARP as one, okay? I'm going to give you a day off for that. This is your second warning. There's already enough people in here that unironically come in and organically say those things. You don't also have to fucking LARP as one. Okay? Oh, they don't LARP. They're just like that.
Secretary of Interior directing the U.S. Geologic Survey, who is responsible for the database, which is the Geographic Names Informational System. And so just prior to this signing, if you will, the button was pushed. It became official with this proclamation to call today Gulf of America Day. But now it's going...
Sick.
But we have a long way to go. We have to find all of the fraud that's going on. We have tremendous fraud, tremendous waste, and tremendous abuse, and theft, by the way.
United States.
And the day you're not allowed to look for theft and fraud, etc., then we don't have much of a country. So no judge should frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision. It's a disgrace.
Mr. President,
I gotta pee.
Gulf of America, Canada, Greenland, Gaza, all these are very muscular foreign policy. How does this align with America First?
Because it makes us bigger, stronger, and better, and more protective. We need Greenland because of national security, international security, world peace. And we'll have to do that. Canada, we'll see what happens with Canada, but the people of Canada would be paying less than half of the tax. If you look at the tax, they're going to be paying less than half the tax. You know, they don't pay very much for military, and the reason they don't pay much is they assume that we're going to protect them. That's not an assumption they can make, because why are we protecting another country? Now, I love the people of Canada. We have a great relationship. But if they became our 51st state, it would be the greatest thing they could ever do. It would be unbelievable. It would be a cherished state. And think of how beautiful that country would be without that artificial line running right through it. Somebody drew it many years ago with a ruler, just a line. You look at how beautiful that is, wow, it would be very exciting. But if you look at Canada, it would be cherished as a 51st state. They don't pay their share of military in NATO. They pay very little for military. They're not protected at all. And the reason is they think we're going to protect them. The other thing is we subsidize them to the tune of about $200 billion a year. If we stop doing that, if we stop allowing them to make cars through tariffs and other things, cars, trucks, etc., what they make, they're not viable as a country.
So would you agree that it's a more aggressive foreign policy than your first term? And why is that?
It's more aggressive. It's better. Why? Because I think I've had a lot of experience. And in my first term, I was fighting everybody because they were very aggressive toward me. I always said survival and taking care of the country, not necessarily in that order. But I had to take care of the country, but I had a bunch of lunatics like Pelosi and all of these people. They fought me, and we won. And, you know, I had a lot of other things that were going on there.
I love being the peaceful dove president who said we have to do ethnic displacement, ethnic cleansing in Gaza, no new wars, but also we have to do a permanent military installation in Gaza. And also simultaneously, we have to forcibly annex Canada and maybe Mexico and Panama and also Greenland. It's cool. I love being the anti-war president. I love how he is the anti-war president. It's dope. Super peaceful, super anti-war.
This time it's much more, they've lost their confidence. I think they've lost the respect of the American people with, you know, men participating in women's sports, with open borders, with transgender for everybody.
Yeah, I apologize. I said annex Mexico. He wants to just bomb Mexico. He doesn't want to annex Mexico. Too many Mexicans.
For all the things that they're doing is so bad. When you allow people to empty their jails into your country with prisoners, killers, their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. This is what they're doing. When you allow gang members from Venezuela, but many other countries coming into our country, we're getting them all out now. They've lost their credibility, but they've also lost their confidence. So I have more time to do what I want to do. So we're making our country larger. We're making our country stronger. And in the case of Canada, if this should happen, I don't know how they can do it without us, because without the U.S., Canada really doesn't have a country. They do almost all of their business with us. And if we say we want our cars to be made in Detroit, with a stroke of a pen, I can do that. And other things in addition to that would not allow Canada to be a viable country.
You said you're going to honor first responders today, but you pardoned hundreds of people who assaulted first responders. Why did you do that?
Who?
You were going to meet with first responders today, but you pardoned people who assaulted first responders.
No, I pardoned people that were assaulted themselves. They were assaulted by our government. I pardoned J6 people who were assaulted by our government. That's who assaulted, and they were treated unfairly. There's never been a group of people in this country, outside of maybe one instance that I can think of, but I won't get into it, that were treated more horribly than the people of J6. So, no, I didn't assault. They didn't assault. They were assaulted. And what I did was a great thing for humanity. They were treated very, very unfairly.
They were treated so unfairly that so many of them immediately are going back to prison or have been shot and killed by the police. There's like, there are multiple child molesters, you know, just so unfairly that these guys are in prison. He should just double down and be like, no, it's a blanket pardon. Just come out and be like, yeah, you can do child molestation if you are a supporter of Donald Trump. Okay, at any given moment. It's a get out of jail free card.
There's never been an incident like that.
Again, you realize if you don't clarify that, everyone's going to assume you're talking to President Putin regularly. Are you? So is it?
It makes sense. Well, I don't want to talk about it, and if we are talking, I don't want to tell you about the conversation. It's too early, but I do believe we're making progress.
It's a secret. I won't tell you. This is a classic Trump too.
We want to stop the Ukraine-Russia war, and I want to stop it just because I hate to see all these young people being killed. The soldiers are being killed by the hundreds of thousands.
So you're starting to put together a plan for like a peace formula.
We're talking to both sides.
Are you
He's
okay
gonna pardon Diddy.
Well, let's look at this. When I came here, they were going to buy it, and Biden was going to approve it. All of a sudden, Biden didn't because he heard I wasn't going to. I don't want U.S. Steel being owned by a foreign country. They can have they don't have a controlling. They have an investment. All they're going to have is an investment. I don't mind an investment in a company, but especially U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel for 15 years was the greatest company in the world, the greatest #1 company in the world, and I'm not going to let another country buy it. We had a great meeting on that, but they are allowed to invest in it, and that's different.
Mr. President, on tariffs, sir, you talked about reciprocal tariffs coming in this week. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And are you announcing a plan for it this week, or will
I'll be
the tariffs
announcing.
themselves kick in this week?
I'll be announcing probably Tuesday or Wednesday at a news conference reciprocal tariffs, and very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them. That's all.
When does it go into effect, sir?
Almost immediately, but I'll be announcing the details of it, highly detailed, and it'll be great for everybody, including the other countries. But if they are charging us 130% and we're charging them nothing, it's not going to stay that way. Every country will be reciprocal.
You confirm that
it won't affect everybody because there's somewhere we have similar tariffs. But the ones that are taking advantage of the United States, we're going to have it's reciprocity, it's reciprocal. We're going to have a reciprocal tariff. But we'll have a news conference Tuesday or Wednesday.
And just on the steel question, just so I understand you correctly.
We'll also be announcing steel tariffs on Monday.
Tomorrow?
Monday, yeah, tomorrow.
What countries will those go on?
Everybody. Steel.
Including Canada and Mexico?
Yeah. Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about aluminum, sir?
Aluminum too.
10%?
No, 25%.
25 for aluminum?
25 for both.
And on steel, sir, are you ruling out then Nippon Steel having a 51% stake or higher? They won't have a majority stake?
Nobody can have a majority stake for U.S. Steel. They can for other companies, but not for U.S. Steel. I think you agree with that, Doug. U.S. Steel was one of our great companies, and through a lot of stupidity and bad government, and also bad management of the company, it lost that luster. But it's going to gain it back, and tariffs are going to help. Tariffs are going to make it very successful again. And I think it has good management now, too. Yeah.
Sorry, can I ask one, please? Can you tell me, can you confirm that you'll be meeting with MBS and Sisi of Egypt soon? Will that be at the White House, or are you going to speak to
I'll
them?
be meeting with all of them numerous times, by the way, but I'll be meeting with all of them. And yeah, I think that it's a big mistake to allow people, the Palestinians or the people living in Gaza, to go back yet another time. And we don't want Hamas going back. And think of it as a big real estate site. And the United States is going to own it and will slowly, very slowly, we're in no rush, develop it. We're going to bring stability to the Middle East, to a totally war-torn part of the Middle East. A part of the Middle East that has caused tremendous problem, the Gaza Strip. And we'll own it. It's totally demolished right now. It's a demolition site. It'll be reclaimed. It'll be leveled out, fixed up. There won't be anybody there. Hamas won't be there. We'll be building through other of the very rich countries in the Middle East. They'll be building some beautiful sites for the people, for the Palestinians to live in. They'll be living in harmony and peace probably for the first time in hundreds of years.
And just to clarify, I know you don't want to tell us about your conversation with President Putin, but can you clarify whether you had that since you've been in office, or whether it happened before you became president?
I've had it. Let's just say I've had it. And I expect to have many more conversations. We have to get that war ended. It's going to end. And we have to get it ended. And we have to get it ended soon. Should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president.
Mr. President, a couple of years ago, your vice president said that suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way you don't like, just let them enforce it. Do you agree with that?
Say the last part.
Vice President suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way that you don't like, they can just enforce it by themselves. Do you agree with that?
I don't know even what you're talking about. Neither do you. Who are you with?
HuffPost, sir.
Who?
HuffPost.
Oh, no wonder. I thought they died. Are they still around? I haven't read.
You literally gave them access to the Pentagon alongside Breitbart after cycling out the New York Times. No wonder. No wonder you're with Huffington Post.
Them in years. I thought they died. All right, go ahead. Who else?
Security clearances. You've been yanking a lot of them. Why does it make the country safer to take away the AG's security clearance? And is that a form of retribution? Which
If there's somebody, if there are people that we don't respect, if there are people that we thought that were breaking the law, okay, very close to it in previous years, we do it. And we've done it with some people. We've done it with Biden himself. We think our country is not as safe if you gave him clearance. We don't think he knows what he's doing. And what he's done to this country is a disgrace. And what he's done in terms of allowing criminals, murderers, drug lords into our country, people from mental institutions into our country, he should be ashamed of himself.
Deportations, there's been some reporting that you've been upset that there haven't been more deportations. Can you clarify that?
I think they're doing an incredible job. It's very tough. Deportations, finding murderers is not easy. Some of them are actually very smart. They shouldn't be in our country. They wouldn't have been. We had beautiful, we just set records for closure. We have the strongest border we've had in many years, since my term. But even for many, many years, decades before that. They're doing an amazing job. I think Tom Homan's doing an amazing job. Kristi Noem's doing an amazing job. But it's not easy finding murderers who know they're being looked for.
There's 29 of them.
But we're sending out thousands of people. We're getting rid of thousands of criminals from our country.
So, do you expect to meet him in person? Do you anticipate meeting with him in person?
I imagine I would be meeting with Putin. I think at the right time, at the appropriate time.
Back on Gaza, the White House press secretary told us last week that you're committed to rebuilding Gaza. Steve Witkoff said that process would take 10 to 15 years. Does your commitment to rebuilding Gaza extend beyond your time in office?
I'm committed to buying and owning Gaza. As far as us rebuilding it, we may give it to other states in the Middle East to build sections of it. Other people may do it through our auspices. But we're committed to owning it, taking it, making sure that Hamas doesn't move back. There's nothing to move back into. The place is a demolition site. It'll be, the remainder will be demolished. Everything's demolished. I mean, you can't live in those buildings right now. They're very unsafe. But we'll make it into a very good site for future development by somebody. We'll let other countries develop parts of it. It'll be beautiful. People can come from all over the world and live there. But we're going to take care of the Palestinians. We're going
Just not Palestinians. People from all around the world can come and live in Gaza, just not the Palestinians that live there. Okay? They're there already. We're going to kick them out. And also, you eating Korean food, my guy? Yes, I am. Insane stuff from Donald Trump.
We're going to make sure they live beautifully and in harmony and in peace, and that they're not murdered. This has been the most dangerous site anywhere in the world to live in. Hamas has been a disaster. And by the way, I have to tell you that I watched the hostages come back today, and they look like Holocaust survivors. They were in horrible condition. They were emaciated. It looked like many years ago, the Holocaust survivors. And I don't know how much longer we can take that. When I watch that, I know we have a deal where we're supposed to they dribble in and keep dribbling in, but they are in really bad shape. They have been treated brutally, horribly. Even the ones that came out earlier, they were in a little bit better shape, but mentally they were treated so badly. Who could take that? At some point, we're going to lose our patience. When I see that scene that I saw today with people coming out of helicopters and airplanes that are emaciated, that look like they haven't had a meal in a month, no reason for that. And I don't know how much longer we can take it.
Do you mean you want to recast the
I don't know how long we can take it. When I watch people that were healthy people a reasonably short number of years ago, and you look at them today, they look like they've aged 25 years. They literally look like the old pictures of Holocaust survivors. The same thing. I mean, the same thing. And I don't know how long we're going to take that.
Mr. President, have you gotten some advancement in your proposals for some of the Gulf or Arab nations to take some of the Palestinian people? And if not, like, what do you think the reason is for their hesitance? Is there some very honest reason that they've even told you privately, or that you think why they're hesitant to take the Palestinian people?
Why are they hesitant to take them? Because they never spoke to me. They spoke to other people. They didn't speak to me. When they speak to me, they're going to take them.
Is it because they think that you would not allow them to return to Gaza? Is that part of it?
They don't want to return to Gaza. If we could give them a home in a safer area, the only reason they're talking about returning to Gaza is they don't have an alternative. When they have an alternative, they don't want to return to Gaza. If they had a home that was safe, where you don't have Hamas killing them, torturing them.
Yeah, it's Hamas.
They'd rather not return to Gaza.
It's definitely not Israel that blew up the entirety of the Gaza Strip.
The only reason they maybe don't act enthusiastic is they haven't talked to me. They talk to other people, but not to me. When they talk to me, they'll be enthusiastic.
Spending, you found some maybe questionable expenditures, or Elon Musk has found them?
Some questionable. The whole country looks like it's a fraud. It's fraud, waste, abuse, but it's a tremendous fraud. And what Elon and his group of geniuses have found is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And that's just in U.S. AID. Soon we're going into education. You'll find the same thing, but bigger. Soon we're going into the military, and you're going to find a lot of bad things happening there. You'll find it because our government has not functioned properly for many, many years, and we're going to make it function properly. We're even looking at treasuries. There could be a problem. You've been reading about that with treasuries. And that could be an interesting problem, because it could be that a lot of those things don't count. In other words, that some of that stuff that we're finding is very fraudulent. Therefore, maybe we have less debt than we thought of. Think of that. So a lot of things are happening, but Elon's doing an excellent job. We started with 12 guys with high IQs, and now we have 100 guys with very high IQs.
Do you think Congress has failed to do their oversight, or do you think your first administration, some of your cabinet agencies failed?
I think everybody failed. I think everybody.
Elon's financial disclosure remains secret.
Because
Breaking news about Gaza. Trump, if all the hostages are not released by Saturday at 12 noon, the ceasefire should be called off and all hell will break loose. I'm so glad I'm 33 years old. And he's talking about all the hostages, not just the ones that were scheduled for release. As in, Donald Trump is going back to the hostage negotiation and saying, after spending the last week talking about how he's going to own Gaza personally, and how he's not going to let any Palestinian remain there, and that they have no right to return, even though they haven't left yet. They haven't been forced out yet. Now he's pulling the lever off the hostage negotiations and saying, actually, never mind. You're just going to release all the hostages, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if that's not the case, all hell will break loose. Which I suspect Israel at this stage is not capable of going back into Gaza on its own. I think you know what that means. You should take back the credit you gave him for stopping the war. You have to be very stupid if you think that I said Donald Trump is earnestly stopping the war. What did I tell you? I told you that this was a brief pause. I will celebrate any kind of stoppage of hostilities. Having said that, I told you consistently that he has a way more nefarious purpose behind his allegiances to Israel, and that he was inevitably looking for permanent annexation of the West Bank. It's not exactly a prophetic take either. It's the obvious one.
Nobody's looking at that. We're looking at all the corruption that's taken place. I mean, his financial
and just like that,
is largely the number of shares that he's got in.
Just like that, Israeli jets are once again flying low over Gaza with drones buzzing overhead after Hamas announced it would delay the release of captives until Israel stops violating the ceasefire agreement. Liberals enjoy what's going to happen to Gaza just to own the left. I mean, it's not because they want to own the left. It's also because they just also like stuff that's going on. Here is the reasons as to why I was going to cover this earlier. The reasons as to why Hamas was postponing the hostage release delay was because of the many different violations, humanitarian agreements in Gaza. They were agreed upon for 12,000 aid trucks. Only 8,500 were allowed to enter. 50 fuel trucks per day was agreed upon. Only 15 fuel trucks were allowed to enter. 60,000 mobile homes were agreed upon. No mobile homes have entered the strip. They agreed upon 200,000 tents, and they only got 20,000 tents. The violations were a shortfall of 3,500 aid trucks, a shortfall of 35 fuel trucks per day, complete absence of mobile homes, and a shortfall of 180,000 tents. Why'd you say you're happy to be 33? I'm not likely to be drafted. It's not even just that. They've also continued bombing. So that's the other side of this as well. Israel not only did not follow through on allowing these aid trucks in, but Israel also simultaneously kept up bombing on the caravans. Here's Fox News' national chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst. One of the 4 key ceasefire issues right now is that of the caravans, temporary homes for Palestinians in Gaza. An official with knowledge of the talks tells me a number of countries and international organizations, including the UN and Qatar, have requested to send caravans to Gaza in accordance with the agreement. All the requests have so far been rejected without explanation, according to this official. Israel must approve for the caravans to enter. So it's not like this aid doesn't exist. This aid is ready to go. There's only one hurdle, and that is Israel. Israel does not want this aid that they previously negotiated on allowing to enter the Gaza Strip to enter the Gaza Strip. That's it. This is the reason why Hamas said, we are going to stop the hostage deal until you follow through on your end of the ceasefire conditions. We're going to postpone it. It's crazy that Israel's situation is so black and white that you have Fox News' own chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst, who is not exactly a friend to the Palestinians, actively, seemingly defending Palestinians, because defending Palestinians at that point is just defending the truth. What's also insane about this process is that when Donald Trump says we are going to destroy if Hamas doesn't release the hostages, or the conditions of the hostages are horrible, and that's why I can't bear it any longer. What he's saying is we're just going to kill all the hostages. That's what he's saying. When he says we're going to take crazy action, he means like he's just going to kill them. He does not care. Here's Al Jazeera interviewing a Hamas official. Hamas official Bassem Naim tells Al Jazeera that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is intentionally sabotaging the ceasefire deal, continuing to block aid, kill Palestinians, and delay negotiations on phase 2.
To all observers, including the mediators, that we have done all what we have to do along the last few weeks, but the Israelis until now, they are still blocking the humanitarian aid. They are still shooting on Palestinians and killing Palestinians. They are threatening by returning back to war. They have, for example, they have postponed the negotiations for the second phase have to start on the day 16 of the first phase agreement. Netanyahu intentionally have postpone the start of the negotiations until he visits Washington, and he is now returning back. He sent yesterday a technical delegation, a very low-profile technical delegation, who is not authorized to negotiate anything, especially from the second phase. Therefore, until now, we didn't start the second phase negotiation, which has to be started 1 week ago. Therefore, he is intentionally planning, and he publicly stated that he is looking for prolonging the first phase and postponing the second phase negotiations. Therefore, they are violating, I think, every observer, every neutral observer will clearly see that the Israelis intentionally sabotaging a deal and undermining the agreement.
So just for the sake of clarity, and now that you're mentioning the phase 2 negotiations, are you saying that the phase 2 negotiations now are stalled?
They didn't start. We cannot talk about stall.
Incredible stuff. This will, I predict, have more dangerous consequences for internal Israeli politics, as the Israeli population has gotten a taste of hostage release, and therefore will understandably demand more, because they recognize it as the only realistic method of extracting hostages. alive. Meanwhile, the protests that have started taking place, it seems, are what? Settlers in Tel Aviv blocking roads demanding that the government implement the entire agreement? Wait, what? No, these are not settlers in Tel Aviv. These are the protesters that are already started. They're the hostage. They're the pro ceasefire protesters. It's War Monitor. He calls all Israeli settlers. Okay, well, for the sake of clarity here, these are not the West Bank settlers. These are the immediate family members of the hostages, usually. Albeit Israel is a settler colonial project, I think this distinction is important for clarity for people to understand. Very stupid for people to disagree with me on this in this moment. It's an important distinction for the feelings of white Americans? No, it's an important distinction for people to understand what's going on. There are numerous different dynamics happening in Israeli politics. It's like it's like referring to Americans as settlers when you're having a conversation about American citizens is technically true, but probably unhelpful when you're trying to have a normal conversation. They are. I know they are. I know I am. I know. Anyway, there is the Fox pregame interview that we were going to watch, but you know what? Actually, we'll start here and then we'll go back to Israel, Palestine.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Happy Super Bowl.
Thank you.
You know, you are going to be first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It's a big day for America, always is. What made you want to do it?
Well, first of all, I'm very surprised to hear that. I would have assumed many presidents came, but I think just the spirit of the country's taken on a whole new life. I thought it would be a good thing for the country to have the president be at the game.
I mean, it's an iconic day.
It's an iconic day. It's going to be a great game, two great teams, and let's see what happens.
You know, it seems the first days of this administration are like a no-huddle offense. You know, plays going down the field, one after another. There's a long list of things you've already got done in 3 weeks. Big border policy changes, ICE crackdowns on criminals, taking biological men out of women and girls' sports, big energy policy changes. So what's different with you and your administration? The difference between the 45th president and the 47th president?
Well, with the 45th, I had tremendous opposition, but I didn't know people, and I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. I put people in office, some really great ones, but I had some that I wouldn't have put. I would have, known better if it were a couple of years later, or if I had a little more experience in D.C. I was a New York person, not a D.C. person. And I had a lot of opposition. I just noticed, I looked on the stage for the recent inauguration, and I'm looking, it's like a who's who of Washington. Well, if you look on the stage for the first one, it was just the opposite.
So some of your plays have raised some questions and had some pushbacks.
Okay, Brett. Dial it back on the fucking football analogies. We get it. You love football. Jesus Christ.
19 states' attorneys general filed a lawsuit, and early Saturday, a judge agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone in the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there,
and you
where
found
the money's
significant
going.
things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people.
Yeah, they're not abolishing U.S. aid. They're not like undermining American imperialism. They're just centralizing it, making it directly, bringing it back directly into the hands of the government. And it's not real waste that they're eliminating here. They're just marketing that. They're marketing it as whatever they think is like funny or stupid or things that they just don't like. Oh, they're doing gay plays or whatever. There's new parts of the interview that are being aired right now on Fox News.
This to happen to our country. We shouldn't have to be doing this.
You said the tariff is a beautiful word. There are some signs in the markets, consumer confidence, that they're a little jittery. So If all goes to plan, when do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich. Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen. In the meantime, they're building car plants in Mexico in order to sell cars in the United States. Our auto workers, look at the kind of support I had with auto workers. Republicans don't get that support. I got record support with auto workers. I won the Teamsters Union. I mean, no Republican wins the Teamsters Union. I had support like nobody's ever had because they know I'm right. So in Mexico, they're building car plants all over the place to make cars, sell them into the United States. I say, no way, you're not going to do that. We're going to put big tariffs on those cars. I don't want those cars. We can make those cars right here. You know, if you look at Canada, Canada has a very big car industry. They stole it from us. They stole it because our people were asleep at the wheel. So what happens is Canada's going to have our cars. We're going to take the car industry. If we don't make a deal with Canada, we're going to put a big tariff on cars. Could be a 50 or 100% because we don't want their cars. We want to make the cars in Detroit.
Sports has always been something.
It's so funny that he did NAFTA too the first time he was president, and yet he gets to act like it's totally a separate trade negotiation that happened without his influence.
Thought about how to try to bring the country together, to reach out or to find common ground. Have you thought about that or how that might go?
I'd love to do it. And I can tell you, just prior to COVID coming in, we were doing so well. The greatest we've ever done. There's never been an economy like ours. Anywhere in the world, we were doing so well. We're eating China's lunch. I charged, you know, I tariffed China for $700 billion over a period of years. We were doing so well. And then we had the COVID. We had to worry about that, and we took care of it. We did a great job with it. And then it was back to business. But I would say this. We have to come together. But to come together, there's only one thing that's going to do it, and that's massive success. In my first term, when we hit that number, and I mean the day before I heard the word COVID or pandemic, they told me, sir, I think there's a pandemic. That was not a good thing. I said, tell me about pandemics. But the day before we hit that word, I had a meeting with political people and pollsters and everything else, and they said, sir, if George Washington and Abraham Lincoln got together and ran as president and vice president, they couldn't beat you. Our economy was so good. You know that. The best ever, the best we've ever had. And everybody was coming together. I was getting a call from very liberal people, senators, congressmen, people outside, people that normally weren't speaking to me. And they were all they were coming together. Then we had the pandemic, and, you know, it was back to work. We had to do that, and I was very proud to have handed over the country, and the stock market was higher than it was previous to the pandemic coming in. It was an amazing achievement. We did a good job, but it was a terrible thing all over the world. Think of it. Millions of people all over the world. Countries were destroyed, far worse than what happened to us. I mean, some countries were they're still suffering from the throes of the pandemic. But the word is success. Success will bring the country together. But it's hard. And I say it's hard. I just signed a bill allowing for women not to have to be punished by men in sports. In other words, men are not going to be allowed to play in sports against women. It's ridiculous. You saw, I quoted a couple of things, long-distance race where the man won by 5 hours and 25 minutes. 5 hours and 25 minutes, not by 12 seconds. Boxing, you see what happens there. Weightlifting, they're setting records where hundreds of pounds more of it. It's the craziest thing. Now, we're never going to change, and perhaps they're never going to change, because I saw that after I signed the bill. The Democrats were complaining about it. They want men to play in women's sports. Open borders. I don't want to have open borders. I want to have very strong borders. I want people to come in, but they have to come in legally, and they have to love our country. They have to be capable. They have to be merit. You know, we won a big Supreme Court case. It's called merit-based. We have the right to have merit-based
All right, let's
employment.
talk about...
So it's hard to come together.
So move on, Mr. President.
Some people want a closed border, and some people want an open border. Some people want men playing in women's sports. Some people are big in transgender. The Republican Party isn't. With all of that being said, we were coming together when the country was the most successful it ever was, which was not very long ago during my term.
You say you trust Elon. I mean, you can't imagine a scenario where you would have to rail him in or set up guardrails for him.
Well, I think I have guardrails. Yeah, Elon is somebody that I have a lot of respect for, but you have to have guardrails. He reports to me, and he's doing a fantastic job. I wanted somebody who's extremely intelligent. He's that. He's also a good cost cutter. You can't send an average person into that quagmire. It's a very dangerous quagmire. I watched some of these horrible people like Maxine Waters, real sleaze, and I watched her screaming at the security guard or whoever he was. Actually, he was pretty cool.
At the Department of Education.
He was pretty cool, standing in front of the Department of Education. She's only looking for trouble. She's not looking to help people.
He was pretty
learn.
cool.
Look, tell Maxine and all of her friends that we're last in education. Out of 40 states, we're last. We're number 40. But we're number 1 in cost per pupil. That's all you have to know. We have to make a change. I want to send education back to the states. You know, if you send education to Iowa and to Indiana and to a lot of these states that are so good, to Idaho, they have no debt, they have no crime, they have no this, they have no that. It's like perfect, because the best states are, if you look at the list of the top, the best countries for education, it's Norway and Sweden and Denmark and Finland. And by the way, China's right up there in the top 5, which is pretty amazing for those that say it's too big for that. It's rated in the top 5. We're number 40. And we can have, if you take those states and many others, I think 35 states, they would be as good as Denmark and Norway. They would be as good as the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. They'd be in there. But on a countrywide basis, I think we have 35 states would be in that category. Then you'd have 5 or 6 that would be mediocre. And then you'd have the same ones that are bad on crime and bad on everything probably would be bad on education. But they'd almost be forced to get better. But you could take New York as an example, and you don't have to do 1. You do 5 or 6. You do Suffolk County, you do Nassau County, you do Westchester County, and then you do upstate New York, and you do Manhattan. You know, you have 5 or 6 or 7, and they'd be small enough where they could really give some personalized education. Also, the spotlight would be on them. It wouldn't be a country. It would be just on Manhattan, or it would be on Nassau County or Westchester County.
It's wild that he's just talking
and
about countries
that,
with
we sent them back, our
almost
educational
entirely
system would
public
be double,
education structures.
and it would cost probably half. You know what, Brett? It would cost much.
While simultaneously working to decentralize education to make it easier to privatize. Like, his goal is to decentralize education and easily privatize it. Ironically, while pointing to countries where it's almost entirely public.
Around the world, I want to hit a few quickly. With Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, you said this.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it.
That caught a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah,
obviously.
some positive.
Some positive, but even some of your supporters wondered whether that meant U.S. troops were going to have to be going into a dangerous Middle East conflict.
No troops.
So where is it today?
I've been watching 50 years, 60 years. They go in, they occupy, they get slaughtered, everything's terrible, everyone leaves, they go back. This has been going on for forever, right? Forever. Now it's essentially a demolition site. There's practically no building that's livable in the whole thing, on the whole Gaza Strip. I say we go in, we knock them all down, we just create something. No more Hamas, there's no Hamas there, there's nobody there. We move them into beautiful areas of the Middle East. I'd like to go to Egypt. They have a lot of land. I'd like to go to Jordan. I'd like to go to others. And we'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2. But we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
Spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
So when you hear the pushback from the Middle East, what do you think?
I don't hear that much pushback. A lot of people thought it was a great idea.
It's insane.
Really, a lot of people. And I'm not talking about big money
He's
for
talking about the
I just
Israelis.
think it would be stabilized if the United States owns the Gaza Strip. If people aren't living in the Gaza Strip,
The only people
and
that don't
Hamas
think this is a
isn't there
devastating
because nobody's
idea is
there,
the
people aren't
Israelis.
there, nobody's going to be there. And later on, it can be developed. You'll give some to Saudi Arabia.
So you're not
give
saying
some-
U.S. troops?
No, you don't need new. No, Israel will watch it because it's right next to Israel.
And
Israel
what's the
will
time
watch
frame? You have a time frame?
I would say let it start almost immediately. I would like to get some land from these others. We'll get Saudi Arabia. We'll get some of the great people. We have incredible people in the Middle East. We'll get these people to finance it. It's not a lot of money. You're talking about building 1.8 million houses. That's not a lot of people, you know, relative to other problems in the world. When you look at what's going on in Ukraine, when you look at what's going on in other places in Ukraine.
How is that not as
they've
big as
lost
a problem,
1.5 million
if not much
soldiers
larger?
already between Ukraine and Russia. It's horrible.
Well, let's talk about that. I know you want a Ukraine-Russia peace deal, but how do you get both sides to the table?
I think it's going to happen. I think we've made tremendous progress in the last week.
Is it just a little bit of ethnic cleansing? What's the problem?
Ukrainians. I think there's going to be something done, I hope.
Zelensky
And
says
you know
that
what, from-
he's up to doing some equity deal where you get rare earth minerals or
Well,
something.
I've asked them, look, the United States is in for more than $300 billion, probably 350, and Europe's in for probably $100 billion. We're in for more than twice, maybe even 3 times what they are. This should have never happened. Biden should have never let that happen. You know, it happened with NATO when I got in and I equalized. I had it equalized and raised hundreds of billions of dollars. NATO became very rich after me. We were paying almost all of NATO. It was unfair. Take care of the military, and then they take advantage of us on trade. You know, they're very tough. I'll tell you what, the EU on trade is horrible. But NATO was very unfair, and I made it fair. I said, look, if you don't pay, we're not going to defend you. And the money came in like nobody's ever seen before.
So
the
you think there's a
Secretary
deal
General
with
just
Ukraine?
left. He said, I've never seen anything. When Trump left, all of a sudden the money started rolling in. These people were all delinquent. By the way, Canada is a very low, you know, we were talking about Canada. Canada is just about the lowest payer in the whole thing, which is very unfair. You know why they're low payer? Because they think the United States is going to take care of them. You think that's fair? It's not fair.
Yeah. Ukraine, though, you think you can get a deal. Do you
I
keep
think so.
sending American weapons until you do?
No, what I'm saying is the following. They have tremendously valuable land in terms of rare earth, in terms of oil and gas, in terms of other things. I want to have our money secured because we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars. And, you know, they may make a deal, they may not make a deal, they may be Russian someday, or they may not be Russian
Quiet
someday.
part out
but
loud,
we're gonna have
baby.
all this
Look,
money
look,
in there,
he's
and
doing
I
it
say,
again.
I want it back. And I told them that I want the equivalent, like $500 billion
Quiet part
worth
out
of
loud.
rare earth. And they've essentially agreed to do that. So at least we don't feel stupid. Otherwise, we're stupid. I said to them, we have to get something. We can't continue to pay this money. You know,
But on the Russian side, how do you get Putin? Do you squeeze him to get him to the table? I mean, how do you...
It would have, look, I say it all the time, this would have never happened if I were president. If the election weren't rigged, this would have never happened. And let's see whether or not Fox lets you put that in, okay? If the election weren't rigged, do you hear me, rigged? Let's see, I mean, this would have never happened. It wouldn't happen with Putin, and October 7th would have never happened either. Iran was broke. They were down to their last very small amount of money. Now they have $350 billion, but they have other problems. And, you know, let's go back over there, because I'm the weaver. I'm the great weaver. You know that,
Trust
right?
me.
Okay? I'm the great
I
weaver.
get it.
Somebody said, oh, he rambled. No. Only the fake news says that. To weave, you have to be brilliant. To ramble, you don't have to be brilliant
I'll
at
just
all.
get back in the weave there.
No,
I had
but,
to
yeah,
get
no,
you
but,
back
but,
there.
but I like the
He's
weave.
like, come
because
on,
it covers
dude,
a lot-
rap.
It covers it much more quickly.
Have you
but if you look at October 7th, Hamas had no money because Iran wasn't able to pay them. Iran had no money. They were down, you know, I had sanctions on them, tremendous sanctions. China wasn't buying oil. I told China, if you buy oil from them, you can't do business with the United States. They took a pass. They were down to nothing. Now they are up to a tremendous amount of money.
You think there's a deal there in Iran?
Yeah, I think we're going to make a deal in Iran. I would rather, okay, and you know, there are a lot of people think that we are going to attack.
Or Israel,
Iran.
with our blessing.
Or Israel, but Israel needs us. Everybody needs us. We have the weapons, we have the strength. We're very strong. I rebuilt our military. People forget, I rebuilt our military. Now, they shouldn't have given a lot to Afghanistan, which they did. They gave a lot. There was no reason for that. but we're very strong. We have things that nobody else has. So they need us. But everyone thinks Israel, with our help or our approval, will go in and bomb the hell out of them. I would prefer that not happen. I'd much rather see a deal with Iran where we can do a deal, supervised, check it, inspect it, and then blow it up, or just make sure that there's no more nuclear. That we just
a better deal than the Obama nuclear deal.
Well, that was the dumbest deal. By the way, that would have expired by now.
Only because Israel didn't like it,
to
Chad.
A nuclear weapon. It was a short-term deal. You can make a deal with just a few years on it. That deal would be expired by now. Think of it. And they would have a legal right to have a nuclear weapon. You cannot allow Iran, or just about anybody else, by the way, but especially Iran, because they are very militant. I mean, they're very, very militant. You can't allow them to have a nuclear weapon. But there's two ways of stopping them: with bombs or with a written piece of paper. And I'd much rather do a deal that's not going to hurt them. And I think they wanted to. I think that Iran is very concerned. I think that Iran is very frightened, to be honest with you, because their defense is pretty much gone. Maybe they're trying to get new defense as we speak, meaning air defense. But their defense is largely gone. They've had some very bad moments. The whole thing with the pagers was a disaster for them. The pagers, you know what I'm talking about. It was a horrible thing, but it was, it knocked out a lot of leadership like nobody's ever seen before.
Holy shit, he said it was a horrible thing.
I think Iran is very nervous. I think they're scared. I think Iran would love to make a deal, and I would love to make a deal with them without bombing them.
So Iran, you think a deal is possible. China, you're saying maybe there's a deal possible? Have you talked to President Xi?
I think that China is so economic, it's so trade-based. And look, Biden allowed China to go crazy. And we have a deficit with China of over $1 trillion a year. Can you believe it? But with all of that said, China needs us because they take out so much money out of the United States. We're not going to let them take out the kind of money they're taking out now, but we're going to let them take out money, and they're going to do very well. And we want them. I happen to like him a lot, President Xi. Yes, I love talking to him. He's
since the inauguration.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've talked to him, and I talk to his people too. His people come in all the time. We have a very good personal relationship. I don't want to sound foolish because...
Well, you had him here, Mar-a-Lago.
I had him here. I know him very well. I know him probably better than just about anybody in various parts of the world. I know Kim Jong-un from North Korea better than anybody. Most people never even will ever get to talk to him.
I was on that trip. I know. I remember it well.
You can attest to it.
I want to just hit on a couple other things.
Yeah.
You had Republican senators here at Mar-a-Lago. They're in kind of a back and forth with the House about the one big beautiful bill, the two bills.
But not much, Brad.
Has anybody figured
First
it
of all,
out? Have you decided?
The relationship is incredible. We had about 50 of them here last night for dinner at Mar-a-Lago. I think John Thune is doing a fantastic job. And I think that the Speaker, Mike Johnson's doing a fantastic job.
This is the one thing with Republicans
literally
where they get to say stuff like this and everybody loves it, where Trump can just say, like, I love China. Chinese prosperity is amazing. President Xi is a great leader. I'm a big fan of him. He's my favorite guy. He's my best bud. And Republicans be like, hell yeah, brother. That's how you do it. Diplomacy. Like, if Biden said that, someone would assassinate him. Okay? Like, if Biden was like, yeah, Xi's my little guy, someone would be like, okay, well, we have to kill him. He's the Manchurian candidate. You know what I mean? No Democrat is allowed to say,
they have a very dangerous
we got to do
thing.
diplomacy. Only dipshits like Trump get to say, I love China.
Ceiling. And the debt ceiling, I call it 1929 because, bad things can happen. It should be just psychological, but it's really probably more than that. We shouldn't have had it. It shouldn't have been ours. It should have been theirs, but somebody made a bad mistake, a stupid mistake, actually. And we inherited. But I can't imagine the Democrats don't want to take care of the debt ceiling because it could be an explosion, the likes of which we've never seen. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's very important that we do the tax bill, and I can't see the Democrats giving people the largest tax increase in history. So we have to extend it and I think make it better, make it even more productive. We can do things that we did even better than we did during the Trump tax breaks.
And you want to raise defense spending?
We want to raise defense spending. I think we have to have it. One of the reasons I can speak with authority is we really do have amazing military, but they're also getting bigger. One of the things I'll be doing with President Xi and
One of the craziest things is that Donald Trump designed the first tax cuts to sunset by the time he was out of office and inevitably hand that to the Democrats as like a tax increase. But he didn't win the second time. So now he's the president. As the tax cuts that he pushed for the middle class and below are slated to sunset. And now he's the president, so he can make it permanent. So it literally worked out in his favor.
crazy to spend the money on things that hopefully aren't going to be used.
I mean, the tough part is that if you don't want to cut entitlements and you do want to add to defense spending and you want to eliminate taxes on tips and you want to make the 2017 tax cuts permanent, that's a lot of money.
But we're going to take in tremendous amounts of money on tariffs. We're going to have tariffs. We're going to take in tremendous amounts of money.
And you think Doge
because
is
it's
going to
unfair.
make up some
it's
difference?
Not Doge. Well, Doge is going to make up a lot, but that's unrelated to tariffs. It's not fair that other countries have really taken advantage of us, and it's our leader's fault, but I'm a different leader. It's not fair that other countries have taken advantage of us for so many years, and now all of a sudden we're not allowed to have tariffs, but they've had tariffs for years. You know, they've done this to us for years, and we haven't. And I think reciprocal tariffs, I'll be talking about it. I think probably on Monday or Tuesday I'll have a whole big thing. We have a very sophisticated plan. I want to have tariffs separately from that on steel, on autos,
Trump
on
and sophisticated
semiconductors and chips, and probably pharmaceuticals.
And you're not worried that any of that's going to go back to the consumer?
It might, but it's ultimately going to be much less expensive.
Oh!
I'll give you an example. The so-called fat drug or fat shot, whatever it's called, Ozempic. In London, you get it for $88. In New York, you get it for $1,200. You can't even buy it. It's very unfair. The identical package made in the same factory, shipped to different places, but made literally in the same factory. In London, it's $88, and in New York, it's $1,200, and you can't get it. And the reason is because everything's added on to the United States because the United States has been too nice. You know, I had transparency done, and Biden canceled it. Transparency would have solved that problem. I'm going to solve it one way or the other, including, you know, they have a certain thing like rent control in New York, and I don't like that. But at some point, nobody's going to, it's not fair that other countries, you go to Canada, all of the drugs are much less expensive. I suggested that some of the governors should go buy their drugs in Canada and send them back to here. It's very simple. So I think we're going to do some amazing things, really amazing things.
Last thing, I mean, you have a lot of things on your plate that you're going to do, but right now...
Well, you know, one thing I did last night that's very powerful, really, the straw. They gave us a paper straw. It melts. It's horrible. They should make it in flavors because by the time you finish, it is so horrible. I ended the paper straw. We're going to go back to plastic.
That might be a 90-10 issue.
It's about a 99.
Because no one loves the soggy straw.
This was a Biden issue, big Biden issue. I'm sure Biden really knew. Somebody put things in front of him and signed whatever they did. I think you're right. It's at least a 90% issue.
Right now, do you view Vice President J.D. Vance as your successor, the Republican nominee in 2028?
No, but he's very capable. I mean, I don't think that I think you have a lot of very capable people. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early. We're just starting. I will say...
But by the time you get to the midterms, he's going to be looking for an endorsement.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that this has been the greatest opening, almost 3 weeks, in the history of the presidency.
It's definitely been the fastest and the most stuff happening.
We've done so much so fast. And we really had to because they have really, what they've done to our country is so sad. It's so sad.
No smile.
We're going to be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
Mr. President, we appreciate all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brett.
Bro, that's so funny. J.D. Vance is so
Bring that
cocked.
full interview to you. Up next, President Trump taking executive action just moments ago in the Oval Office. We will go to the White House for an update. Plus, the panel on my interview with the...
I love this because he's like, oh, the fat drug, which, you know, hilarious that he doesn't, he's like the fat shot is so expensive in America, right? And what's the solution to the price? Adding additional charges to the American middleman. Instead of regulating the American middlemen, instead of doing mass purchases of pharmaceuticals and actually bargaining on the price point at the point of purchase. What we should do is put additional tariffs, like another costly thing that will drive up the cost of this medicine for the average consumer. Great idea.
Damn, this guy's good.